FM.
Where the pros play. KCDC San Antonio. Jason Minix, Rob Thompson, the Blitz.
It is the Blitz. You're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. On the go at ESPNSA.com. Thank you so much for dialing us in. Happy Friday. We join you on what was the last Breakfast with the Blitz edition, as he is Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson, James Pledger, all sitting comfortably in our respective locales as always. So this morning, Jason, we set our alarm for what, like dark 30, something like 4 a.m.
Yep.
Got up. We had our morning devotional, our 8-mile run. Then we sat down, game planned our day, affirmed, and then worked on our vision boards.
You must have got some really good stuff from the dentist if you thought that's what happened this morning. That must have been one wild dream you were having.
and then we interviewed Coach Mike McCarthy. And then I went back and played with the Care Bears. That's my morning. I don't know about yours. But we interviewed Coach Mike McCarthy this morning and had several very pointed, outstanding questions that were going to be answered in time. But as we sit right now, breaking news. James, do we have a 3-note sting?
ESPN San Antonio. Breaking news.
And great news for you Friday football fans. Mike Nolan has been fired as the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. You get yourself a defense that gives up 30 points again. You get a very long weekend. And add Jim Tomsula to the list, the defensive line coach.
You ain't leaving alone.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if others on the defensive side got fired as well. You know, and it's interesting, and we'll talk more about it and who possible replacements might be. Mike Fisher from 105.3 The Fan and one of the better Cowboys insiders there is. He's going to join us coming up at 6 o'clock. But when we talked to Mike McCarthy, almost like the interview Jerry Jones did earlier this week, there was no vote of confidence. There was no, why would we get rid of this guy? There was no 3-year contract extension for Mike Nolan like you got for your offensive coordinator and Kellen Moore. It was, we're evaluating and we'll make decisions. But Mike McCarthy told us that was going to happen probably next week because we did ask for a timeline.
Well, that's part of the exit interview process. You know, we'll continue. You know, it's really twofold. Sometimes it takes 3 days to get through the players. Then you go through I've been working with the coordinators here the last couple of days, and then we'll move on to the assistant coaches over the weekend, and I'll probably wrap that up by the end of next week.
Yeah. That was Mike McCarthy on with Breakfast with the Blitz this morning. It was broadcast to you this morning as it ran, and it will be on again at 4:30, the entirety of the interview. And we touched on a lot more than just his coaching situation. You certainly want to hang along with that as we had Breakfast with the Blitz all season long, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. This was the last one. You know, Jason, as we talked to him, and we're certainly going to get into it, I don't think he valued the importance or really understood the importance of tacos. Because I will say this in the interview. The first thing I thought when we talked to him was, boy, this guy's kind of in a good mood for, 7 a.m. on a Friday morning.
Well, I mean, for him, he's sleeping in. I mean, the guy's still getting up stupid early during the off season.
No, he was firing his coach. He was like, all right, I can unburden myself with this. I'm letting this clown go.
Yeah, but that's his friend. It's hard to fire
Not anymore.
I mean, and look, you take the emotion out of it and you sit here and you strip it down. And I was thinking, well, next week, he told us what the interview or the exit interview process was. Well, this dude, Mike Nolan's got a whole lot of work to do so that Mike McCarthy has everything done that he's going to need for evaluations going into the offseason, but he's making Nolan get that work done. It's almost like, finish up that report over there and then go see Brenda in HR. Well, why would I do that report if I know, it kind of felt like, hey, Mike, finish this up and then you're going to get fired. But no, he doesn't value, I think he enjoys breakfast tacos. I think he enjoyed giving them to the quarterbacks. But
dude, I've seen him. He's eating some of them.
Well, yeah.
But he might grab one or two in between doorways. But let me tell you, he's eating some tacos. I'm not concerned about that. But I thought he would get the quid pro quo of the taco. That's why we did this. A little something. So when the time arrives and you have the opportunity to slip a little something to us, that's what the value of the taco is. That's what people don't understand about the morning breakfast down around the courthouse is tacos exchange. There's some community, currency there. And I don't think McCarthy got it coming from where he's from.
You thought you're telling me he knew he was going to fire Mike Nolan while he was talking to us this morning, and just flat lied to us.
Or the other scenario is, Jason, he didn't think he was going to fire him, and he was getting ready to do his exit interview today, opened up and looked at the film and went, well, holy crap, I got to fire him. He didn't realize until he did his act. Well, look at this. I had no idea. This is awful. Yes, he knew he was going to fire him. He knew he was going to fire him when he walked off the field, walking off the Giants game. He knew he was going to fire him when they gave up like 80 yards on that first drive of the Giants game.
I mean, he knew he was going to get fired, but Mike Nolan wanted the weekend off. Mike Nolan wanted to be able to go home for the weekend, so Mike Nolan finished up his reports. I mean, he stayed it late the last couple of days, probably came in early to get all those reports done. Here you go, boss, Friday afternoon, man. I don't want to work this weekend. You told me I had to work this weekend to work on this stuff. That ain't happening. Look, I stayed up late last night, and I got this. Oh, you finished your reports? Okay, thank you. You're fired. Because it doesn't jive with the timeline that he gave us. I don't know. You're right.
So Mike Nolan was doing the TPS reports.
Uh-huh.
He had to get the TPS reports done before he could.
Do you remember the cover sheets on those TPS reports?
Oh, if you don't put all the headers on, it's not going to the right department. So you got to make it still. That's why you had to get the extra work done. But if you are just joining us, at least 2 of the 3 primary coaches that were involved with the front 7 are exiting the Dallas Cowboys. Mike Nolan, the defensive coordinator, gone. Jim Tomsula, the defensive line coach, very quickly gone thereafter. We're waiting on Scott McCarthy. Is there a Scott McCarthy in the room? Has anybody seen Scott today?
Because, he's in quarantine. He's not allowed to come to the office.
So, if I'm Scott McCarthy, I'm getting as skinny as a parent at an AAU basketball game when the coach is looking for a scoreboard operator.
And
what?
Who is this McCurley guy? Your linebackers coach. It's interesting. And again, I go with the answers. And again, you'll hear the whole interview with Mike McCarthy coming up at 4:30. But I think about how he answered questions about, like, say, Mike Nolan, and I know the end result now. I asked him a poignant question about a dude like Jalen Smith specifically, and he gave he didn't offer a lot of cover for Jalen. But it does tell me, you hear Mike McCarthy and then you see the actions of Mike McCarthy. I don't think that it bodes well for a future with one Jalen Smith.
Good point. We're going to reflect on what he did have to say about Jalen Smith, and it had to be a lot of it had to do with, well, if you're playing bad, you're going to have to take the abuse. You'll hear all of the interview today at 4:30, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. Breakfast with the Blitz, the ultimate edition with Coach Mike McCarthy. Also, man, Spurs rolling out of LA, victorious, man. They rolled in there, kicked a little bit. I asked 2 different nights and rolling on to Minnesota. What a fantastic performance last night. LaMarcus Aldridge, MVP. What was that, 28 points last night?
Slow your roll, man. We know you're on some medicine. I
don't think I'm alone in that. I think his locker room probably looking at him like that too.
I mean, you had to call in sick yesterday because your tooth hurt, and then you got a visit from the tooth fairy. But you're doing well today, man. You sound pretty good. But anybody that calls the show, make sure you start the show with a yawn. It's contagious.
No, don't do
that. And Rob can't yawn right now.
Don't do that. That hurts. You'll hear. What did Mike Tyson used to say during a fight? He was making lady noises. If I yawn, you're going to hear some lady noises.
Everything we can today to make Rob laugh because he called in sick yesterday because of a tooth. But I'm glad you're doing all right.
A minor toothache. Hey, when we get back to Spurs, man, 2-0 in Los Angeles, take them Clips and those Lakers down. It led the Sports Centers last night with the beatdown that was. Hey, we're going to look at doctored baseballs. There's a lawsuit involved in there, sticky stuff on baseballs, and there's all kinds of nastiness going on in baseball. And I hear tell they also steal pitch counts, pitch signs. There's something going on over in baseball. I don't know.
Cheating in baseball.
I'm not sure it's possible.
Baseballs. I mean, Is it really illegal, or dude got fired and fired a lawsuit and throws everybody under the bus?
Which is what you're supposed to. Isn't that the American way? I mean, if you're going to get in trouble, you might as well get a lot of other folks in trouble with you. And I'm kind of burying the lead. We got a great guest coming at 5:15. I'll say that again. At 5:15. Andre Reed, a Hall of Famer, as we had our announcement for the newest Hall of Fame batch, the finalists announced. Andre Reed's going to join us at 5:15. I imagine that's one excited Buffalo Bill, as the Bills are on the precipice of doing things that haven't been done since Andre was playing back in the mid-'90s. He's going to join us. We're going to talk about all things NFL, what's going on in Buffalo, and the particular, environs of older NFL football players and the challenges they face that don't have the health care that modern era football players get. It's going to be good to speak with Andre Reed in Buffalo, the Mafia. I wonder if he can jump onto a flaming table. Hold on. We'll be right back. We're going to talk some San Antonio Spurs. You know what? A caged up pop led to some hops. Talk about that too. Hang on tight. You're on the Blitz. 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
You think about this weekend, you got 3 playoff games on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. You're going to fire up the grill, and when you fire up the grill, you want the best sausage on there. That is Kielbasa smoked sausage. You want the authentic sausage, the kind you could find back in butcher shops in the old days. Kielbasa smoked sausage is what you need to go get, and it's because the way it is made. You see, at Kielbasa, they make their legendary smoked sausage in small 150-pound batches with only fresh, high-quality ingredients, never frozen meat. They don't add fillers and chemicals that you can't pronounce. Then it is smoked over real hardwood, just the way they did it back in 1949 when the company was started here in San Antonio. And everything they make is still made here in San Antonio. They're a great local company that's on a mission to reintroduce you to authentic smoked meat. So when you buy Kielbasa brand sausage, you're getting the best, most authentic smoked sausage you'll ever eat. Michael Kielbasa guarantees it's the best sausage you'll ever eat. If it's not, call him. He'll give you your money back. He puts his number on the back of every package sold. Kielbasa sausage is now available at Walmart. And, of course, you can find Kielbasa sausage, that great Kielbasa bacon, chorizo, and those breakfast links at an H-E-B near you. You're going to fire up the grill and get some Kielbasa today.
The Blitz talks with head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Mike McCarthy, every Friday on The Blitz. Mike McCarthy is brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. Your home for everything Cowboys is 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
It's Wild Card Weekend, and you can follow all the action at betonline.net. For the first time in league history, 6 games are on the board during the opening round of the playoffs. Feature games Saturday include Indy at Buffalo and LA at Seattle. On Sunday, Chicago visits the Big Easy, while divisional rivals Cleveland and Pittsburgh square off. Check out all the action this week at betonline.net as the journey to Tampa gets underway. Always available online or your mobile device. Visit betonline.net today. Bring the game home at betonline.net.
Hey y'all, this is your girl Cheryl Underwood, and I want to tell you something. My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but those days are over. Now I feel great. That's because I increased my fiber intake with the Metamucil 2-week challenge, and I'm still hooked. I just took Metamucil every day for 14 days, and it's really that easy. Metamucil traps and removes the waste that weighs you down, so you feel lighter and more energetic. Now I never want to go back to that heavy feeling. Are you ready for the Metamucil 2-week challenge? For a coupon and daily support, sign up at Metamucil.com today.
These days, it's okay to do some things halfway, like wearing your pajama bottoms on a work call, but managing your prescriptions shouldn't be one of them. That's why CVS has a proprietary search tool to find ways that may help lower your prescription costs, and will deliver them for free. No wonder CVS customers are better than most at staying on prescriptions, which tends to make you healthier. Come in or call today and get a free prescription savings review at CVS. Savings vary. Not all patients eligible for savings. Delivery restrictions apply. Visit cvs.com for details.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late, and that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Do not hire Franklin & Sons Electrical. The guy told me he'd shrink my monthly bill, and I'm like, dude, it's too small to read as it is.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Then he's like, where's the circuit breaker? I'm like, bro, I didn't break anything.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial auto and business insurance.
He told me I had a blown fuse. It's called a short fuse, and yes, I do have one, so watch yourself.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
It is the Blitz. Here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. The Blitz is always brought to you by the Thompson Law Firm. Jason Thompson, alawyearforus.com is his website. His number is 210-900-0400. Been injured in an auto collision. Call Jason Thompson as soon as possible. 210-900-0400. Your consultation absolutely free, and he will come to you. The San Antonio Spurs win another. They had a little 4-game schneid. They get on the road, and I guess staying in one hotel room for a period of nights and not being able to do anything else adds a little bit of activity, a little bit of energy, and go out last night and really just run past the Lakers. It was never, I don't think there was one tie. The Spurs were never really behind, and
wire to wire.
Played a fun basketball game, 118-109, and I'm reading the headline off of Pounding the Rock. The beautiful game returns. I wouldn't go that far, but I'll tell you what, they were sharing the ball.
They were, and again, I mean, I saw better ball movement out of the Lakers, but you talk about, even like Greg Popovich said, you go back to your room and all you can do is watch TV, and we know what the last couple of days have been like if you're watching any kind of news channel, right? No meals, no get-togethers, all this stuff. But this is from Spurs PR wizard Jordan Howenstein. Spurs went 2-0 in LA, the first team to beat both the Lakers and Clippers in back-to-back games at the Staples Center since the Golden State Warriors did it in 2018. I mean, that's
there you go.
That
World Championship.
But that's huge. I mean, those were two impressive wins for a team that has been anything but impressive. But I get a feeling that we're going to see a lot of that this year. You'll see nights like you saw in Utah against Utah. And then the Clippers, they held on and got the win. Last night, they just put the throttle down on the Lakers.
It was fun to watch a couple of things. First of all, the Spurs actually won a basketball game without a huge contribution from Keldon Johnson. That's a good and a bad thing. Certainly, Keldon, we need you to come back. But I'd say it's just about his worst offensive outing out there. Defense was solid. Rudy Gay's defense on LeBron James, you can't overlook what he did last night. That's 2 games in a row that Rudy's defense and his ability to get the rebound and actually, handle the ball and be a function in the offense and even bring the ball up on those long rebounds. That really helps the continuity of that offense. They flow very easily when that occurs. And one last thing, Jason, is DeJounte continues to impress. He's a stat stuffer, man. Fantasy basketball types love them some DeJounte. You get points, you get rebounds, you get steals, you get blocks. Every night he brings it, and his decision-making, while not stellar, is in fact improving.
Yeah, but LaMarcus Aldridge in 28 points last night.
There you go.
Spurs now, 4-1 with LaMarcus in the lineup this year. LaMarcus had himself a ball game last night in LA. LA was incredible.
When your 4s and 5s are hitting 3s, you're getting to the truest part or the purest part of what I think Pop wants to see. And that's, everybody available to shoot. If you leave to double someone, a 3 is going to be in your eye. And we saw that last night. And, post game, listening to Anthony Davis complain about the defense. And yeah, they were a little slow on the stretch to the line. And LaMarcus certainly shocked him, I think, because he continued to shoot. And then what he did is something I didn't think he was capable of, Jason, as we saw him put it on the ground, put it on the floor, use his dribble, do some groundwork, and work his game outside in and end up, a couple of fadeaways, a couple of little high post jump shots that were certainly falling last night. If he can, bring his game not from inside out, but outside in, I think that will be the key to the Spurs offense as we continue, because Rudy is certainly offering a lot of points from the 4s and 5s as well. But, he's going to continue to have to, because Jakob Poeltl seems incapable of offering a whole lot of offense other than garbage.
Well, and that's true. And again, I'm not ready to just totally throw in the towel on Jakob, but
No.
8 games in, I'm losing enthusiasm by the second when it comes to Jakob Poeltl and being on the floor and versus my expectations. But you talk about the beautiful game, and they did have solid ball movement last night, although I thought the Lakers' ball movement was far better. But when you do get 28 points on 43 made field goals, 28 assists on 43 made field goals, you could tell the ball movement is there. But one of the things that I do like early on, we saw passes around the perimeters. They were trying to get the 3. Last time we saw the better shot was to drive, and they took that shot and they drove. And I don't know if you got to take what's available to you, and I know there's an emphasis on this team shooting more 3s, but if a 2 is the better shot, take the 2. And there are a couple of games where I felt like they were just trying to force the 3.
Jason. It's not the better shot anymore, Jason. You're going to have to lose that mindset. That is not the better shot. The idea here is volume 3s. 16 made 3s last night, 20 made 3s before. They're passing up 2s for 3s, Jason.
But last night I saw them take some 2s and get some points. They still want the 3s. They're not just sacrificing the 2s. And you're right, it is volume 3s. I mean, They made 16, they took 35. You're shooting 45% from 3, you're going to take that.
And that's the goal. Whether ideally you're going to take those 35 to 43s a night. That's hard for guys that have been playing under Pop forever. Sometimes those easy passes for the mid-range jumper, and DeMar finally hit one, sometime late in the second quarter, we saw a mid-range jumper, and I think that was almost reflex. You almost felt like, dude, why'd you kick it back out? What are we doing, layups here? We need 3s. But I think a real sign of what they did last night was they exposed the Lakers for what they're not good at, and some of that was long rebounds and fast breaks. They're, despite what we saw some shooting from Aggie Alex Caruso coming back after COVID and lighting it up there, getting those 8 points. They didn't shoot very well, and the Spurs were much more active toward the ball, both on offense and defense, and just ran by them. And do you think it's a product of no home court advantage anymore? If things are going well, momentum is easily kept. It's very hard to stop momentum on your own, especially if you're a home team. You kind of rely on that crowd, and that's 2 times the Spurs, while they had to hold on tight, they still held on. And last night they held on as well and just kind of paced themselves on road games with no crowd.
Well, and I do think it does factor to a degree, really, for both sides. But I do think against the Clippers, I felt like the Clippers thought they could roll into the gym and roll to an easy win. And the Spurs, when the Clippers turned it on late, the Spurs held on and held on and held on, and the Clippers ran out of time. Last night, with about 6 minutes to go, 8 minutes to go, as the Lakers got it to within 10 and then at 8, I was ready for the Spurs to blow that lead. Instead, they ballooned it back up. That was impressive, and it started with a Patty Mills taking the charge from LeBron James. And when you got LeBron James coming down the lane and you're Patty Mills, and we all know what that size difference is, and for him to stand in there and take that, first off, hats off to you, Patty. Not many are willing to sacrifice that way. And LeBron kind of hurt himself on that, by the way. Had to take himself out, hurt his ankle. But I thought that part was huge. And I do think from a confidence booster for this young Spurs team is, the Clippers didn't have Paul George. There was questions going into the game last night if Anthony or LeBron were going to sit out, but they both played. So that was a fully functioning Laker team that the Spurs beat wire to wire yesterday. I think that is a huge confidence booster as this team travels out to Minnesota for the weekend.
Yeah, they get a doubleheader, a couple of games as this weird NBA schedule goes against that number 1 draft pick in Minnesota. It's certainly a great springboard as they head into the Arctic North. But, watching them play, you can tell if the shots don't fall, then things get a little weird. And every now and then they get a couple of, missed baskets. And you can tell them looking over on the side, should we slow it down now, Pop? Do you have a concern about what I'm doing? And you can tell Pop's just Let's go, man.
Let
Just
them
keep moving. Just keep going, and don't look at me anymore. Just go. And I think that's a very difficult thing to overcome, especially when you were so reliant on not making mistakes in the past. When you make them, you got to get past the reflex of, oh, no, here it comes. I got to go sit down.
Well, and that's where I think, and I know we talked about that some on the show yesterday. I know you were out in La La Land with the tooth, but if you haven't watched the Tony Parker Netflix French propaganda film that they've got out,
greatest French player ever, man.
Well, he really is, but it's all positive. You know, there's a lot missing in the life story of Tony Parker. I mean, they stopped at an hour and 38 minutes. If they'd have gone a full 2 hours, you'd have got the juicy stuff everybody wants to see in the bad. But there's a lot in there when he was young, and I think any longtime Spurs fan knows how Pop treated Tony Parker and abused Tony Parker, and let him play through it. And even Kobe Bryant, and it's incredible seeing Kobe in this documentary. But I hope all these young Spurs watch it and understand that this is a different Greg Popovich, because you're not the puppy that's going to get swatted on the nose if you have a puddle on the floor. You're going to be able to stay on the floor and play through your mistakes. And that's the biggest difference that you see between what Tony had to go through per se and what these current Spurs. They can make a mistake and stay on the floor.
We forget how much of a point guard killer Pop was until he found Avery. I mean, it was a rotating door, and even with Avery, he had questions. You know, he still wasn't comfortable, and we had to go through Mario Elie involved in that, a lot of that as well. So we're going back to the old days and then back to the new days, where just go play. We'll worry about your mistakes as long as they're mistakes of commission, as long as there's effort involved with it, and attempted positivity. We'll stick with it.
Was that a Back to the Future kind of reference there? Because he had the Back to the Future kind of moment last night on the sidelines there. That photo of Pop with an incredible vertical. Now, I know part of that's got to be angle. At least I hope so. I didn't know if he was mad because the wine he wanted was out of stock or who made what mistake. But my goodness, for the old military man, dude needs a haircut. But that photo is the photo of the year, and it's only January. What a great picture of Greg Popovich.
So far with the NBA, and this is no joke, if we talk about the photos of the season so far, the first was Becky Hammond coaching with her hand up, coaching her guys, and now we've got Pop with at least a 10-inch vert. I would like to see Pop and LaMarcus on a vert board to see who has the most vertical. Because I think Pop might have had him on that jump.
Pop might have the a better vertical than a couple players on that team, Jakob, maybe LaMarcus. But you have to have the right energy. I don't know if he could just do a standing, with nothing firing him up. But how that man didn't blow out a knee and Achilles or something when he landed, because he was up there. And with the hair, too. I mean, just everything about it. I mean, that's what I imagine Pop looks like at a Pearl Jam concert. I mean, that thing was incredible.
I think he's turning into Gandalf. I think he's
slowly, his buddy Don Nelson grew his hair out.
Keeps getting longer and longer.
And that's part of the retirement.
Yeah, that's part of the retirement. I got to the end. Why didn't they show us the tournament? The Valley tournament's right around the corner, and we go to another season. What?
Well, I mean, I think that's why. And that after party thing sucked. But I did. I finally finished season 3 of Cobra Kai, and that was a really bad ending to the season. If you haven't got there yet, wait till season 4 and just catch up and keep rolling, because the ending sucked.
I don't know, man. That high school they go to, whatever, Valley High or whatever that is, that does remind me of West Campus. There's a lot of, there'd be karate fights. You just walk down the hall and walk out, and then suddenly karate fights just breaking out everywhere.
Some kind of fights. I mean, West Campus, didn't you guys have the barbed wire?
We had karate fights. We did.
Yeah.
We did, in fact, have in-face barbed wire. You're welcome to climb in, but you ain't leaving. You ain't getting out. Hey, coming back, let's hear from the head football coach of your Dallas Cowboys. AA Best Bail Bonds brings them to you. It's Breakfast with the Blitz. Mike McCarthy, we had him this morning. You want to hear all this as we discuss the season and pay very close attention to the time that he will spend in preparation to fire the newly fired Mike Nolan. Hold on tight. Mike McCarthy coming next. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com. Are you dealing with pain? Do you have something that just won't let you go? One of those soft tissue injuries that hold on to your back or really keep those hamstrings too tight, or plantar fasciitis where your feet just hurt, or maybe all the way up to the back of your neck, those tension headaches. Arasti can take care of that. They are passionate. They are experts at solving and resolving most chronic pain and soft tissue injuries like sprains and pulls. With Arasti, you get back to doing things that you need to do very, very quickly. So quickly, in fact, you can get yourself back in the game, and on average, 3.2 visits. You ask me how I know that. Well, Arasti a couple years back wanted to find out how quickly they get their patients back in the game. A nationwide study, hundreds of thousands of clients studied, and 3.2 was the number that they came back with. Think of that. So many people live so long in pain, and they just treat it with over-the-counter medications and hope it'll get better. Don't do that. Go to an expert. They resolve the problem. The pain goes away. You know, when you walk into an Arasti provider, they're going to accept most insurances. And here's the great thing. You don't need to go through some kind of long referral process to go find an Arasti provider. You can call them. You don't need a referral. Here's the number you need. It's 1-800-404-6050. Again, 1-800-404-6050. Their website is a treasure trove of information. Arasti.com, AIRROSTI.com. I've had a bad back for years. I learned how to treat myself. I learned how to keep myself from being injured. And I know that if I do, in fact, hurt myself again, I can go to the tips and tricks there at their website, or I can walk on into one of their many, many locations around San Antonio and get myself back in the game immediately. Do not let pain keep you from doing things that you love. Call an Arasti provider today, and before too long, I am sure you're going to thank me later.
You follow your friends on Facebook and Twitter, so shouldn't you follow us? After all, I thought we were friends, aren't we? Never get left out. Follow us on Facebook at ESPN San Antonio, Twitter at ESPN_SA, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
At Thomas J. Henry, our sole focus is to help injured clients rebuild their lives. If you've been hurt, don't wait. Start your claim today at tjhlaw.com/radio. That's tjhlaw.com/radio. San Antonio, Texas.
We've all heard of porch pirates. Maybe you've had a package stolen off your porch. Have you heard of Amazon Key? It's a new feature from Amazon, and my friends at BSG have the Amazon Key. Hi, Jason Minix here. If you order a lot from Amazon, you need the Amazon Key for the peace of mind that packages are not left on your porch, but inside your garage, and the whole delivery is on video. It's incredible technology. Secure Amazon drivers can open your garage door, and a camera will come on, start recording it. Your garage, the house door locks automatically, and you're notified in the smart app. You can watch the driver deliver your package, then close your garage door. It's a safe and secure way, so you don't have to worry about packages getting stolen off your porch. There's no monthly fee. This is an Amazon feature, and BSG has the products to make it work. Go to bsgtexas.com for more details. BSG is a great local company. They've been in business in San Antonio over 20 years. Call BSG at 210-877-1222 or bsgtexas.com.
Listen to this radio station on the radio.com app anytime, anywhere. Listen to more than 300 stations along with more than 3,000 podcasts from your home area or across the U.S., all free
with the radio.com app.
A great meal starts with great meat. Rob and Jason here for Tri-County Meat Market, the best meat market in San Antonio. It's locally owned and full service. Tri-County has carefully selected certified prime Angus beef cuts, Wagyu, and upper choice.
Tri-County has everything you need to up your grilling game, from beef, chicken, pork, fajitas, poppers, and more. Stock up on their Pick 5 for $25. Tri-County Meat Market, 2 locations on Ralph Fair Road and on Huebner Road, and online at tricountymeat.com.
Allstate now has deeper savings, and deeper savings require deep thoughts and a deep voice, like mine. Save for being a new customer. Save more for adding DriveWise, and save even more for driving safely. Visit allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. As someone once said, saving today is money tomorrow. That's deep.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
The head coach of America's team, Mike McCarthy, joins the Blitz, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com. Breakfast with the Blitz continues. Our last conversation with Coach Mike McCarthy, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. Coach, welcome aboard. How's your Friday been? Have the lights been on all week long?
Oh, definitely. No, we're still going at it here pretty strong, and just trying to work through the exit interview process. But it's something I've gone through every year. But yeah, the lights are on, and we're just chipping away at it here.
Early bird even during the off season. And Coach, before we get in depth with the Cowboys, Rob, my partner here, he played, he didn't play hurt yesterday. He called in sick because of a toothache, but he's up early this morning. He couldn't make it through the first full week of the year, Coach. He couldn't do, a full 5 days but he's up early for this interview, has the energy. And it got us to thinking yesterday, what does an NFL head coach do, or any coach, or anybody in the NFL, if they get a toothache? I mean, what would keep you from showing up to work someday?
Oh, you got to suck it up, don't you? I mean, I think that's the stock answer. But no, it happens. No, I get it. So I'll just say this: we're one of the true benefits of working in the NFL is you have a great training staff. So we definitely have one here. But,
what is the coach? Coach, what is your line between being hurt and injured? I grew up. My daddy always said, "Well, are you hurt? Or are you injured?" Because there's a big difference. If you're hurt, put some mud on it and get back to work. If you're injured, let's talk about it. What's the line for you?
Well, I would definitely say a toothache is maybe being hurt. It's definitely not being injured. Oh, God.
So you're saying he should have showed up for work yesterday. Now, here's the thing. I mean, Rob and I have been together, almost 5 years now doing this. About twice a year, he's got a toothache, and about once a quarter, his back locks up. I mean, it just comes with the territory. It's just a little early this year to get that phone call.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure there's medicine for that to get you through the day, isn't there? I mean,
there is, in fact, but it kind of gets in the way of talking.
No, that's true. You guys, I mean, just looking at your intro alone, my goodness. I mean, you're at a whole different level. I personally don't really enjoy talking a whole lot outside of coaching. So, yeah, now that's something I guess you got to consider. But I never looked at his toothache as being injured. But
yeah, I mean, if a player were to call you and say, "Coach, I can't come to practice today because my tooth hurts," what do you tell them?
Well, that's the tooth hurts. He's got to go see the trainer. Now, we've had players miss practice because they had to get a tooth pulled, or things like that because of the infection component of it. So, I don't want to underestimate this toothache. Now, is it a toothache or is it a root canal? And I mean, that's depends on what we got to get more specific about the injury here. The
root has been removed, and we are now on to some sort of experiment that involves screws and some sort of long-term temporary. I don't know what's going on, but we continue with Coach Mike McCarthy, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. And let's get, this interview is very rapidly becoming a root canal. This is the second I've had in 2 days. Coach Mike McCarthy joining us. We talk about the debrief and the exit interview. In this age of COVID, what's your exit interview like? What do you go through? Do you pull out a piece of paper and say, "Well, excellent. Your finished grade was a C+. Thoughts?" I mean, because I haven't been exit interviewed in years. I haven't been evaluated in forever. What's that like when you go through that with your players?
Well, we do the social distancing. It's still a one-on-one conversation. So it's face to face. I have a list of, and it's not really questions; they're more topics. So and from that, the conversation generates. And what I've learned over time is I always start with the older players. So you go, by years in the National Football League, and so you have, I think, about 6 or 7 topics that you discuss, and then from that the conversation is built, and it takes on its own life, and every year is different, and really the most insight you usually get is from your veteran players, and then from as you go from veteran to veteran to veteran, there's probably about 5 or 6 themes that are established. So then you just kind of ride those themes, and it's very informative. It gives you a lot of confirmation about what you're doing, how you're doing it, but it also gives you some, an opinion. Hey, I better look at this, because you may have some linemen that talk about it. The one drill that's 14 plays long, it just totally gasses them on Thursday. That's then you may have a receiver, tight end, saying, "Boy, that's my favorite drill because it gets me in the mode and tempo of the game." So so you get both sides of things to look at, and it's a healthy process. I've always felt like I accomplished a lot from the exit interview process every year I did it up here in Green Bay. And
Dallas Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, and it's definitely been the case here as I'm working through it.
Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy here on ESPN San Antonio, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. As we're basically a work week into the offseason, what have you kind of reflected on and learned about how difficult this first year for you was with the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, it's it's been doing a lot of that here throughout the evenings as I'm able to talk and interview coach and player. But yeah, I think what I've done and what I've learned is it's important to address things that you just finished. And what I'm talking about is like the in-season work schedule, because it's fresh on everybody's mind. Go through the details of it, and then start trying to change that. So I'm making changes already to how we're going to, what our schedule is going to be next, September. So, and that's what the value of these meetings give you. It gives you really clear insight of what you should really look at and discuss, because, if you wait till August or, July to start going back and thinking about your in-season schedule, you may miss a couple topics that you should probably discuss in depth. So, so you kind of work back, if that makes sense to you, you kind of work backwards in a sense, where you take this time now to clean up everything that you went through during the in-season. And then, also now we're trying to build an off-season program and format. But the challenge with that is we don't even know what the schedule is going to be because of the COVID situation.
Coach Mike McCarthy joining us here on Breakfast with the Blitz, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. As your players are exiting, and you're in a big building now without the primary reason to show up, your players. What is there anything that you're going to take with you from this COVID season that you could actually implement from now on? Is there anything that you've learned during this season of separation that might actually be able to apply, or is everything, including those protocols, if you ever have to deal with them again, it will be another cold day in hell? I mean, is there anything that you've drew from this season that you can apply to next?
Oh, absolutely. I think you just look at the challenges in technology and the advancement of using your resources through a number of things. We're fortunate to have, a number of different video applications, and how they were utilized. Also it opens up the avenue for more creativity and enhance the teaching environment, enhance the teaching tools for the coaches to educate the players. Yeah, there's a lot of things that come out of this virtual need as we'll continue. We're going to do virtual meetings as coaches starting at the end of January every Friday, just to make sure that we're ready to be in a virtual format if we have to in the off season. And we want to be better this time than we need to be a lot better this time than we were this time during last year's March, April, May phase in the virtual realm. So that's what we're focused on.
Well, and obviously, if as you go into year two, at least there's a COVID plan and an idea, as opposed to trying to make it up as you go, like we've all done for the last several months in dealing with this. Now, you talk about the evaluation of the players in the exit interviews. I am a little surprised as we're a week in, no changes to your coaching staff yet. What is that process like as you visit with all the coaches on your staff?
Well, that's part of the exit interview process. We're continued. It's really twofold. Sometimes it takes 3 days to get through the players. Then you go through I've been working with the coordinators here the last couple of days, and then we'll move on to the assistant coaches over the weekend, and I'll probably wrap that up by the end of next week.
Coach Mike McCarthy joining us here on the Blitz, brought to you by AA Best Belmont. So you'll wrap things up next week. Are you heading back up to Green Bay or in the greater Wisconsin area? I hear the weather's a little bit cooler up there. Are you ready for all the work that goes along with a winter a little bit further north of Austin than we're accustomed to here?
Yeah, it's vacation and going up to Wisconsin this time of year, and it definitely lines up perfectly, I guess. But I'm going to go see my family here probably in the next week. And the staff will be off for 10 days starting at the end of next week. So, and then we'll get back here and get started on 2021.
Man, I got to give you a lot of credit. Doing all this virtually, you could have already been in Wisconsin with your family and just popped up the Zoom to do some of these interviews. Waiting another week, although I don't know how much of a hurry I'd be in to go to Wisconsin this time of year. But it's part of it. But you look at getting away for a little bit, and obviously that's good for everybody. I thought Kellen Moore was going to get away and go back to Boise. Are you surprised? A week into the offseason that you've got him locked up for another 3 years?
I mean, I can only go based off the conversations I had with Kellen. That Kellen and I had. No, I'm not surprised. I think this is a great opportunity for him personally, and and Boise is a special place. There's no question about that, especially for Kellen, with his history there. But this is a great fit for him right now. So I mean, and I don't know what the whole future holds as far as with Boise, but no, I'm not surprised. I think we both felt that we're just getting started. On offense, what we to do something special as far as what we can be offensively. So, and I know he wanted to continue on that path, and I know his family's very, very comfortable here in Dallas.
Mike McCarthy here on the Blitz. So things are winding down. You guys are going to exit next week. If there's any alteration in your coaching staff, can we expect to have news about the time you guys head off for the week break?
Well, I'm going to continue to work through this process, and and all those questions will be answered in time.
Fair enough. And I know, we're asking questions that you don't want to answer, but can you give us an idea, like let's look at a player in Jalen Smith, and every week, it seems like the coaches rave about Jalen Smith, but fans seem to be very unhappy with what we're seeing from Jalen. Dude gets a lot of snaps, but at the same time, what are you guys seeing on tape that us as fans don't see? Because you guys are the only ones that know exactly what he should have been doing on a particular play. Kind of take us through that process and educate us.
Well, everything we do is under evaluation internally. Every play in practice. Things we do in meetings, and obviously, what's of most importance is on game day. So we have a intense grading system that's definitely for position coaches that haven't been through this type of grading analysis. It takes up a lot of time on Monday mornings. It's so from that you have grades, and that's what you stick to, and that's where the grading analysis from the coaching staff and then the personnel department, and you get in the room with Jerry and Steven, and you go through those things, and that's why the communication between the coaching personnel is so important. And I feel like we definitely have that here with Will McClay, and in particular Jalen's case. It's I think like all of us, the longer you are in this league, the longer you perform in this league, the more criticism you're going to come under. He's an established player of, and once you command a salary that goes with the, with your experience, there's more responsibility, which, as we know, the more responsibility you have in this business, the intensity of the criticism it rises. So I think that's part of what I think Jalen has to go through, being here and, playing for the Dallas Cowboys. And frankly, I don't think any of us can shy away from the fact that we were a 6-10 football team this year.
Mike McCarthy joining us here on the Blitz. We do our own postseason evaluations, and we're evaluating our taco provider, El Volcan, up there in Allen, Texas, and Jonathan specifically. We need your thoughts on the taco delivery with Breakfast with the Blitz, because, of course, we want to make sure that we carry forward with the best possible food. So your thoughts on our tacos, or anything in particular that you think that we should change through our taco delivery, or any specific taco or breakfast that you would require for next year?
Well, no, not at all. I think it definitely he's in the playoffs. I'll just tell you that he's still playing. He's definitely a playoff NFC Championship caliber opponent, and we'll hopefully we can get it all the way to the Super Bowl next year. But yeah, they were outstanding, and thank you very much for your generosity for doing that. The quarterback meetings on Fridays were the quarterbacks very appreciate the tacos. So thank you once again.
Well, Coach, thank you. And it was, I'm sure, a great honor for Jonathan. It was something that he certainly spoke of, and I'm sure he certainly appreciates your kind words. Coach, one last question. As you head out, are you guys still dealing with the protocols? Are you still testing every day when you walk into the office?
Yes, this week, and then we're still working through the semantics of it, but we'll have some level of testing next week. Exactly how and the mechanics of it, we're still working through. But
well, Coach, we appreciate.
We continue with the daily.
Well, in the meantime, stay safe, Coach. We look forward to meeting you in person, face-to-face in Oxnard when next we speak. Breakfast with the Blitz, brought to you by AA Best Bounds with Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy has been a pleasure, though. I'll be glad to turn this alarm off on Friday mornings.
It's been awesome. I do look forward to meeting you both.
Mike McCarthy, your Dallas Cowboys head coach. I didn't congratulate him on a successful Dallas Cowboys season, but yet he remains the head football coach of the Dallas Cowboys, though today they are paying the price. There have been firings up there at the Star. We'll tell you who's leaving. Coming up next on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
And, of course, our conversations with the Cowboys head coach are brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. And if you get yourself arrested, you want to get out of jail fast, best way to do that is by calling my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds. 210-225-2121 is the phone number, or go to the website, mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail, and you don't want to be forced to do a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, while it might sound good, make sure you really understand what all those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option, AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans available, a free shuttle service. They're discreet and confidential and open 24/7 with offices all over San Antonio and Texas, services nationwide. License number 149. Call AA Best Bail Bonds. 210-225-2121. If you're up in Dallas, down in Corpus, in the Valley, anywhere in between, and, of course, here in San Antonio, AA Best Bail Bonds. 210-225-2121 or online at mybestbailbonds.com.
Game nights, the Blitz goes silver and black.
This is DeJounte Murray. It's Game Night San Antonio.
Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom. 30 minutes before every game night on the Blitz.
1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
Carmen's startup found an angel investor, but now they're asking for a miracle from her development team.
Hello, this is Carmen. That's exciting news. I guess we could launch early.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
For DIY projects, you know the Home Depot's always in your corner. Now with our mobile app, it can also be in the palm of your hand. With digital tools like image search, snap a picture of something. It'll recognize it and serve up product suggestions in seconds. And our product locator will check availability and lead you right to it. The Home Depot mobile app. Download it today to get started. Only from the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Introducing Fidelity Income Planning. We look at how much you've saved, how much you'll need, and help you build a straightforward plan to generate income, even when you're not working. A plan that gives you the chance to grow your savings and create cash flow that lasts. Plus, you can start, stop, or adjust your plan at any time. Talk to us today so we can help you go from saving to living. Fidelity Brokerage Services, member NYSE, SIPC.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio. 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com. If you want to watch us live or check out anything going on in the sporting world, ESPNSA.com is your locale. And while you're there, upload a picture. Grilling with the Blitz in play. You could win a $50 gift card from Tri-County Meat Markets. Hey, Andre Reed, your Hall of Fame wide receiver of the Buffalo Bills fame, is going to join us at 5:15. We're going to look forward to a fine playoff weekend. And the Bills charging toward a Super Bowl or more likely to be upset? We'll ask him that question as the Bills doing things that haven't been done since Andre was lacing them up back in the mid-'90s. Talk some Spurs. Ken Jennings takes over like one of the greats. He's just going to be a player coach. He's going to be, sure. I mean, Mr. Jeopardy now.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna take over hosting the job. Maybe Mike Nolan could apply because he's got some free time now. Shortly after Mike McCarthy talked with us, he went and fired Mike Nolan.
What was the line that he gave us? It'll all come out in time.
Yeah, but next week he did say next week.
That was cryptic for sure. Yes, as we sit, 2 coaches are gone, and we keep seeing on the Twitter sphere that more are coming. I guess they're trying to track them down so they don't hear via the social medias that they've been let go. But they've lost their defensive coordinator and their defensive line coach, 2 former head football coaches, now unemployed football coaches. The Cowboys are reshaping this defense. You heard from Coach McCarthy that they are doing the exit interviews this week, and they're going through, man, by his description, just about everything, man. He is such a process-driven guy that he comes in with those exit interviews with a specific group of topics, not questions, topics.
Well, again, he said, it's been all week, and it's going to go into next week before he can finally get home. But I will say this, firing Mike Nolan, and that had to happen. He's the scapegoat. But hiring a new defensive coordinator isn't going to make this defense great because the players are still subpar on that side of the ball. They still have a lot of work to do on that defense to upgrade the players for the new defensive coordinator.
Keep in mind, it was on Jerry. He didn't have it all done right. Wasn't prepared, absolutely. They got them a general manager with the Dallas Cowboys, and so did the Houston Texans. Nick Casario introduced to the angry mobs, and it sounds like he won the room. We're going to talk about the Texans' brand new hiring. How is he going to handle Deshaun, the Jack Easterby effect, and all things Texan coming up next. And Andre Reed very quickly to follow. Spurs win. And Casario hired. We'll cover it all in the 6 o'clock. Hang on tight. You're on the Blitz. 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Tune in every Sunday morning from 11 to 1 for the Sunday Sports Grill. Hosted by last year's and this year's Rock the Mic champs, Michael Jimenez and Quinn Hudson. Every Sunday, 11 to 1. The Sunday Sports Grill. Chop it up and grill with former and current Rock the Mic champs Michael Jimenez and Quinn Hudson. Every Sunday, 11 to 1. 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
We have finally turned the calendar into a new year, but if you still are rolling on those old brakes, you need to get them fixed. Jason Minnick's here for New Brakes, nubrakes.com. New Brakes is a mobile brake shop. That means they will come to you to fix your brakes. New Brakes has made getting your brakes repaired easy, convenient, and affordable because they will come to you. They'll come to your home, they'll come to your office, and fix your brakes while you continue to live your life. Most repairs are done in less than an hour. New Brakes only uses premium premium brake parts, and they back all repairs with a 24-month, 24,000-mile warranty. Go read all the 5-star reviews at nubrakes.com. If you know your brakes are bad or you think they're going bad, do us all a favor and get them fixed. Schedule your appointment now at nubrakes.com, nubrakes.com. Save 10% when you mention my name or ESPN San Antonio. Go to nubrakes.com right now, nubrakes.com.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español? Hablo. It's hablo? Yes. It's hablo.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real life situations.
The app is so easy to use and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at babbel.com. That's babbel.com, BABBEL.com.
Every player matters, and finding the right person can make all the difference.
In 1999, the Indianapolis Colts traded Marshall Faulk to the St. Louis Rams for a 2nd and 5th round pick. The move helped transform the Rams offense into one of the most dynamic in the history of the NFL. They became known as the greatest show on turf. Faulk won the NFL MVP in 2000, and the Rams went on to reach 2 Super Bowls, winning Super Bowl 34.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
When scouting talent, teams use all the tools at their disposal to determine the best fit for their rosters. LinkedIn Jobs works that way for your business. Post a job with targeted screening questions, and LinkedIn will quickly get your role in front of qualified candidates. Manage job posts and contact candidates from a single view as functions are streamlined onto one simple screen. Get $50 off your first job post at linkedin.com/sports. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
KCDC San Antonio.
Hey, it's Kirk Herbstreit, and you're listening to San Antonio Sports Leader, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, at 94.5 FM,
where the pros play. Jason Minix, Rob Thompson, the Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. On the go at ESPNSA.com. Happy Friday to you. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson. James, pleasure producing us all the way till 7 o'clock. We got Andre Reed, Hall of Famer, going to join us here in about 15 minutes as we look forward to a stacked NFL weekend. It's dawn till dusk both days as we get lots and lots of NFL football this week and the benefits of those extra teams in the playoffs. And we're going to look at the Spurs as well. But right now, the Houston Texans announced over the weekend that they had, or the last couple of days, that they had hired Nick Caserio. He signed his contract and was introduced to the cheering public down there in Houston, Jason. And as Caserio becomes the brand new general manager, he came in kind of swimming upstream. First of all, I don't think anybody questions his hire, the guy, and certainly he won the room today, but it's his lineage, it's history.
Yeah, you know, and again, I think it might be the Novocaine talking because you said cheers, and I think it was jeers. Texans fans aren't happy.
Oh, that wasn't cheering?
There is no honeymoon phase for him, but maybe he bought himself a couple of days or the weekend because he did own the press conference today. You know, when John McClain was on with us yesterday, he talked glowingly about everything he had heard from his friends in the Boston media about Nick Caserio. And he comes in and, you know, whatever the Patriot way is, his press conference didn't go like, well, let's say, Bill Belichick press conferences. The guy's got some personality, and it seemed like he answered questions as openly and honestly as he could. And John McClain, speaking of the general from the Houston Chronicle, went straight to, you know what, you take over this team and all of a sudden your franchise quarterback isn't happy. He's apparently going to demand a trade. What do you do about having an unhappy quarterback?
Yeah, I think each year is a new year. We're starting from scratch. And I think the most important thing for us is just to speak specifically to Deshaun. I'd say from afar, the respect and admiration that I have for him as a player and what he's done for this organization is significant. He's our quarterback. Quite frankly, he's a big part of the reason why over the last two seasons when we faced the Texans that New England came out in the losing side of the ledger. So I think it's important for all of us to take some time. And I think, you know, when the time's appropriate, we'll have discussions with the players. I think it's important for us, whatever conversations that we're going to have with players about their individual situation, that we do it directly. We do it face to face. And, when the appropriate time comes, we'll sit and spend some time with Deshaun. But certainly looking forward to the opportunity to work with him.
Yeah, one more thing right quick. There's a lot of talk about him being traded. Are you going to quash that?
Yeah, he's our quarterback. And again, once we have an opportunity to spend some time together, we'll further discussions. But can't tell you how much respect and admiration that I have for him, for who he is as a player and what he means to this franchise.
It's interesting because what's he going to say? Well, yeah, we're going to trade his ass. I'm taking calls right now. But what's the appropriate time to meet with your star quarterback who isn't happy? 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock? What time is the meeting?
Well, he's on vacation.
Well, I think they have. I think they've separated. But as the day goes on, he's going to take a lot of that because Deshaun did make it very apparent that he's not happy with the process. I don't think he's unhappy with Casario. I think he's not happy with not being involved. And Casario was very quick today to say that he will be involved with the hiring of a coach. My question here is, is he not trusted because he's an Easterby hire? Is he not trusted because he comes from the same tree that is New England? Or is he not trusted just because nobody's going to be happy with this hire unless Deshaun is happy? And if he sounds upset, well, then I got to be upset.
I think it's twofold. Nick Casario was probably a very good hire for Houston. A lot of teams wanted to interview him. A lot of teams have asked over the years to interview him. The Texans did 3 years ago. But because of the O'Brien stink, because of the Jack Easterby stink, it does feel like it's more of a good old boy system to get our boy Nick into Houston, and we're going to run this franchise there. It just doesn't sit well from a PR standpoint for the Houston Texans, who have had their share of PR issues this year alone. And again, Jack Easterby signed off on the trading of DeAndre Hopkins. Jack Easterby, you know, there's been so much written about how the hell did this guy get this job? Who is he and what did he do to get where he is? Now, Nick Casario quickly said today that Jack will have a place in the Houston Texans, but it isn't going to be making football decisions.
Yeah, Jack and I have had a really special relationship. It goes back a number of years. I'd say he and he's helped me a lot, I would say personally. That we've actually dealt with some things on a personal level through the year, but he's someone that I've always leaned on. I have a tremendous amount of respect and admiration for, and any personnel decisions that will be made, we'll make as a group, but ultimately that's the responsibility that Cal has instilled in me, is to handle the personnel side of the football operation. So that's the expectation moving forward. Jack will have a role. We'll work in conjunction with each other on a number of things for sure. But as it pertains to football decisions, those ultimately might be my decisions in conjunction with the head coach once we get to that point as well.
And that's kind of the interesting part about Jack Easterby, because he is the interim general manager, right? He was the interim general manager until today when Nick Casario got the job as the permanent general manager. So what does Jack Easterby do? If you're not a part of the football side of staff, what is it that he's supposed to do there?
He does little favors for the guys. I don't know, man. He's some kind of Svengali, evidently. That guy shows up with no evidence. There's no evidential skill, nothing that we can discern that is proven to have him to show why his had this rapid rise in a variety of different football franchises. But whatever it is, people trust him. And Casario said just that. Now, I'm curious, can Casario keep the trust of Deshaun Watson by keeping Tim Kelly around? Does he need to keep somebody around to keep Deshaun happy? Does Deshaun even want Tim Kelly around? I heard they interviewed him today as a head coach. I don't think that's going to be the outcome.
I don't know that Tim Kelly will be the head coach, but I do know that Deshaun Watson wants to keep Tim Kelly as his offensive coordinator. He wants to keep that kind of continuity. He apparently had lunch not long ago with Cal McNair at wanted to be a part of the process and represent the players, with Cal. And you don't have to go with my guy, but at least talk to our guy. They didn't even do that. He wants Eric Bieniemy. He said that during one of the press conferences this year. Eric Bieniemy isn't getting even an interview with the Houston Texans. So it is, you've got a quarterback who wants his input heard, and an owner who is saying, sure, we'll listen to you, but then not listening to him. So that's part of the unhappiness with one Deshaun Watson right now.
If Caserio wants to remain successful and keep the players happy, the first thing he needs to ensure is that Cal McNair is not allowed to speak to the public or the players without him present.
Well, I mean, Cal McNair's not necessarily the best public speaker, and Nick Caserio has already had to save his ass at least once today. It was an interesting exchange with the Houston media today because, let's go back to Jack Easterby. Jack's going to have a job with the team. Nobody is really saying what it is he is going to do with the team, but he's not going to make a football decision to save his life. So he was asked straight up, well, what are the qualities specifically? Tell us about Jack Easterby and why he's important to this franchise.
Well, Jack's very gifted in a lot of different areas. In those areas, to do things that Nick will need as he moves into his role as GM. It won't be rostered. It won't be free agency. Like I said before, those are the GM jobs that Nick is doing. And he will look to Jack to do some of these other things that Jack has done really well in the past.
Catering, reservations.
If I can add to that, Vanessa, because
I'm going to let me come to your rescue, Cal.
Jack's unique skill is the ability to invest in people, grow people, and serve. And I think that serving mindset has served a lot of people well. I know it's helped me on a lot of levels, but those are the types of things relative to Jack and what he can bring to the table. Again, Cal has brought me to the Texans to handle the football aspect, and that's my role and responsibility. And we're going to need a lot of people in this building, a lot of really good people to try to help grow this team and develop this team to get to a point that we have something that's sustainable for a long period of time.
Sure. Okay. We still have no clue what this Easterby guy does or why.
Jack Easterby is Rasputin, man. He's spinning tales and telling stories and predicting the future and keeping the wealthy family entertained. That's very strange. He serves. The guy is here to serve, man. That guy is here to help. Mm-hmm. That's why he is running the place. He's here to serve. Man, it is the strangest situation. And Caserio, I hope he realizes the depth of distrust that is circulating not only amongst the media, but amongst fans of the Texans, because it just feels orchestrated. Now, they can rescue this, Jason, with a top-notch, head coaching hire, but you got to be real careful there. It might be a great hire, but if Deshaun Watson's not happy, this smoke could very quickly turn into a fire.
Well, and again, he's the quarterback today. There's a handful of teams out there that are loading up 5 years worth of draft picks to send to Houston to get him a Deshaun Watson. And, right now, you've got a brand new general manager with no draft picks and no cap space, but yet go rebuild your team.
How about a Sam Darnold, a number 2, and a number 1 next year?
I would start with 3 number 1s over the next 5 years, and I'm the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm getting a Deshaun Watson, or the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm getting 3 1s and 3 2s over 5 years. I could do that. I think that's where you start. 3 1s over 5 years. If I've got a team like Minnesota, I could survive with Deshaun Watson and go win football games because I got a young wide receiver on a rookie deal. I've got a great young running back. Got a pretty rough defense that needs some help, but we'll still be able to fix that and work on that defense. But put Deshaun in Minnesota, put Deshaun in New Orleans, maybe put Deshaun in San Francisco, instant winner.
Chicago. What about Chicago? You think of those teams that suddenly have that kind of weapon. If that happens,
Chicago not instant
winner. They don't deserve him after passing on him for Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
Let's just consider the possibility here. The world's of possibilities. The Rockets could get rid of Westbrook and Harden, and the Texans could get rid of D-Hop and Deshaun Watson all in the same calendar year. That would be spectacular Houston sports in the best possible way. Let's hope that happens.
Pull the trigger.
And the Astros get rid of Springer.
There you go. And Springer gone too. Hold on tight. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
We got us a good old interview coming up here. This is one you want to stay in. This is one of those garage or driveway listening events. We are going to be joined by a Hall of Famer, Andre Reed of the Buffalo Bills, going to join us. We're talking football. We're talking Bills playoffs and catching up with an old friend. Andre Reed joining us next here on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Without more licensed workers, Gary's roofing business might hit its ceiling.
Hey, that new contract just got pushed up. We are going to need all hands on deck to make this happen.
Hey, Gary, you booked me on that other job next week.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider and are only available if the provider determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. You pay just $30 for a month's supply. And right now, get your first online doctor's visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/real. That's right, free, zero copay, no expensive appointments, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. Hims connects you to doctors online who can evaluate you and, if appropriate, prescribe your ED medication. And a pharmacy sends it right to your door. Hims makes it affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/real. That's forhims.com/real for your free online visit. forhims.com/real.
My name is Cade Courtney, and this is my new show, Can You Survive This Podcast? I'll be drawing on my years as a former Navy SEAL platoon commander, sniper, and CIA contractor. The show is designed to teach you techniques that will increase your chances of survival if you happen to find yourself or your family in any life-threatening disaster scenario imaginable. Subscribe and listen for free on Spotify. Can You Survive This Podcast?
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, on the go at ESPNSA.com. He is Jason Minix. I am Rob Thompson. You know, Pork Rind Appreciation Day is just around the corner. We know it for the big game, but the big day is for the Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. We are joined by a Hall of Famer, Andre Reed, here on ESPN San Antonio. Andre, welcome aboard, man. It's always a pleasure to catch up with one of the very greats to ever set foot on a football field. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate that. You know, I've been to Texas many times. Obviously, I played in old Cowboys Stadium, Texas Stadium, and been down to Texas a few times, but never really been to San Antonio. I mean, is the Alamo really what's just cracked up to be? I mean, is it like is it like when you come to Buffalo, you go to Niagara Falls, it's like, okay, that's a lot of water, and then you don't ever come back there again. So,
well, you know what, Andre? I'll be very honest with you.
Yeah.
No, Andre, I'll be very honest with you. Most of the people that see the Alamo for the first time go, I thought it would be bigger.
That's it?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen, you know, I'm a big researcher, and I love history and how things, I'm a big military buff, really big I like to see how stories started and how things ended. And the Alamo Act obviously is a very integral part of, Texas history down there. And I guess just seeing it on TV or seeing it does look kind of big on TV, but some things ain't all cracked up to what they are once you get there.
Yeah, it is interesting when you drive by. You don't realize, you go, that's it. But the history of it. But I mean, for those of us that live there, we generally only go inside it if we got family in town that have never been.
Right. That's again, it's just like Niagara Falls. I mean, Niagara Falls. If you guys ever been there, I don't know if you have. It's pretty spectacular. I mean, it's one of the wonders of the world. And it's like that is a whole lot of water, and people actually, a guy tried to tightrope across it. I guess he did something across it, and then sometimes some fools try to go over the falls, which I really don't understand that. But
in a barrel,
it's pretty amazing being up close to it, because the sound of that water going down is really powerful, no doubt about it.
Interesting. Andre Reed, Hall of Famer, with us here on ESPN San Antonio. Generally, we get interviews like this Super Bowl week as you're leading up to the game. But since we're all not going this year, we get stuff like this ahead of time, which is even better. And for you, I can only imagine what the city of Buffalo is like right now. And obviously, in the middle of a pandemic, they are allowing some fans to go to the stadium this weekend for the first playoff game since you were actually playing. But what's the buzz like in Buffalo with this team?
Well, let's get back to Niagara Falls. It's like that water going down there. That's really what it's like. It's a nonstop, flow that's been happening this year up there. The team is. I don't know if you could say the team was expected to be 13-3 and be contending like they are. I think they were, because Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, when they hired him as GM, really had a vision of bringing the right people in, like every team does. But you can bring the right people in. If they don't work together, it really doesn't matter. And I think they got the right quarterback, Josh Allen, who is second-team All-Pro. I just saw that on the news. And definitely was in the MVP. Still, the MVP conversation this year. Really stepped up his game this year. And the Bills are 13-3. Not only because of him, but mostly because of him. But this team has rallied around him, and the organization has given him the keys to the car, and he's driving it. And I think this Saturday, tomorrow's game against the Colts, Frank Reich's coming back, and everybody knows the comeback game that comes around around this time every year. He was part of the greatest comeback in college sports and part of the greatest comeback in the NFL. So I'm sure he's thinking of something like that maybe happening, but I actually try to get at him on Instagram and on just on social media and say, yeah, Frank, I hope you guys play well, but not tomorrow.
No kidding.
It's I love you, and thanks for doing all you did for us, and you made history, and I was part of your history, but you can't be coming to Buffalo tomorrow and making history in Buffalo. So it's going to be a good game. And the playoffs are a different bird. What you did during the regular season really doesn't. It's just momentum going into the games like this. And the Bills have been on a tear throughout the league this year, throughout their season. They really put a stamp on their regular season last week against Miami, scoring 50. I think they scored the most points ever. Josh Allen had a career year, an MVP year, most yards, broke Jim's record in touchdowns in a season. Stephon Diggs, who was definitely the biggest acquisition in many, many years there. And again, the brass up there, we needed a guy like that. And every team needs a guy like that. You look at, the Packers, they got Aaron Rodgers, who, will be probably MVP. But they got a great receiver, first time All-Pro in Devontae Adams. And every team's got that guy, and the Bills really didn't have that. And once you get a quarterback that's playing, quality football, you need that battery mate. And I think they did find that in Stephon, and he has put on the show this year, leading the league in receiving yards and catches. And that is a reason why they're 13-3. And the defense doesn't get a lot of credit. And I think because of the offense has scored so many points, but you got to stop people for the offense to get on the field and score those points. And you know, a big, very proud of what that defense has done this year. And tomorrow's going to be a big test for them.
It certainly will.
Even though they say Phillip is long in the teeth, there's a lot of guys that are long in the teeth, but he's got experience and he's going to come in there to win. And we got to put pressure on him and make him be the Phillip Rivers he used to be here a couple times here in San Diego, where I live. So it should be a good game. And the Bills fans have been waiting for this for 25 years. And
Andre, I got to be honest with you. I was actually, Andre, I got to be honest with you. I was kind of hoping. I was talking to you in Buffalo, and there was like a Nordic blizzard going on outside, and you're getting ready to load up and head out with the Mafia for the Orchard Park and watch the game kind of stuff. But you're in sunny San Diego. All right.
He ain't dumb.
Yeah.
No, he ain't dumb. He's Hall of Famer.
Have to. I mean,
real quickly, Andre.
My blood done thinned, man. My blood's thinned out. It used to be really tough. Now, San Diegans, it gets 55, 60 here. They're wearing jackets and beanies out here. So
Respect.
It's like, really? Yeah. So, but that's just how it is. I mean, they, we use that weather to our advantage. And anytime any team comes up to Buffalo, at this time of year, we're hoping for big snow, and sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But I think those fans are going to sound 6,700 fans are going to sound like 80,000 tomorrow.
Andre, and they're going to do everything they can. Andre, I want to follow up on something you mentioned. You went after Frank Reich on social media. Now I know you got his cell phone number. Will he not take your call this week, or you just don't want to call him this week?
I think that's kind of a double-edged sword. I'm going to take both there. I'm not going to call him. He's not going to call me, and he's probably.
But would he take your call?
He probably would take my call. Yeah, because Frank's that kind of guy. He's that guy, and I think he is. He was that guy when I first came in. We came in together in '85 there in Buffalo, and one thing that we developed a good rapport because we worked together a lot. They put the rookies together, and I think he was destined to do what he's doing as far as being a head coach. And he went through the ranks of being here in San Diego as a quarterback coach and going to Philadelphia. He won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. So he was destined to become a head coach somewhere. And I think he's done a fabulous job there in Indianapolis. And they got the right guy at the helm there in Indy.
Andre Reed joining us here on the Blitz, Hall of Famer, wide receiver with the Buffalo Bills. When I think of you, Andre, and I think of your cohorts, that era of the Buffalo Bills with Jim Kelly and Bruce Smith and Thurman and all of the group, what kind of shadow do you guys still cast up there in Buffalo? And if you had any advice for the young bucks that are coming up and starting to make their own way in Buffalo, starting this next tradition, what would you tell them?
Well, I think once they get in Buffalo, they know what those fans mean to them. And every team has a fan base. And I think the Bills fan base is like no other. Bills Mafia, I'm sure you guys heard of them. They were bought out. The naming rights were bought out by the team, which, I mean, that's pretty unprecedented. So they're like the Raiders, and they're like those fans. And they're rowdy, and they're crazy, and they're this, and they're that. And I think they're the heart and soul of that city. And as much as Buffalo has been talked about over the years, they can't say anything about their fan base. They're going to be there, rain, sleet, or snow. It doesn't matter. And I think that team, one thing that they do, they give a lot of love not only to the fans, but they give a lot of love to those 90s teams that I was on. Those 90s teams. They talk about, what the impact of what we did there before them, and they just want to be not only a part of it, but they want to start their own legacy. And I've seen through media this week that a lot of those guys have been interviewed talking like that. We know what those teams did in the 90s, but this is our team now. And we want to start our own legacy, and that starts tomorrow. So I think they're thinking the right way. We want them to win as much as anybody. I'm red, white, and blue. I bleed it. And I want these guys to do good. So I want them to bring a championship back, because that's only good for the former players that played there. And that's like any franchise. So it's they embrace that, and they realize how much those fans mean to them. And to see those fans, which again is going to be like 80,000 there because they haven't been there all year. It's going to be a big rush for those guys to see fans in the stadium.
Hall of Famer Andre Reed with us here on ESPN San Antonio. You talk about that shadow that your group of players still cast in Buffalo. I'd compare it to Aikman and Emmett and Michael Irvin in Dallas with the Cowboys. And, and I make that comparison. Obviously, we're in Cowboys country down here in San Antonio, but I look at a player like Cole Beasley, who, by the way, second-team All-Pro this year. But he was obviously with the Cowboys, goes to Buffalo, and he just talks about the culture difference. And you think about the Cowboys, who haven't been to a Super Bowl since, well, back in your day. And is it culture? And what you've seen what the change has been in Buffalo. How far away do you look at the Cowboys and say they truly are from trying to go back and winning another Super Bowl?
Well, I think the big word you use is culture, and that's really what that organization was trying to change and trying to disrupt. That culture. They haven't been in the playoffs in so long. Something's got to change, and sooner or later, you got to get the right guy at the helm. You got to bring a stud quarterback in that's going to be a leader on the field and off the field. That's Josh. You got to bring a stud offensive player in. That's Stephon. And then everybody else that's around has to buy into what they're doing. That's all the way from the guy calling the shots to the guy cleaning up after practice. And everything has to be working in that kind of way. And is it going to equal wins? Yeah, I mean, that's neither here nor there. But you do have a base now. And anybody that doesn't want to be on that foundation and be able to put their feet on that foundation and do what's told of them or do what's expected, they shouldn't be there. And I think that's what, Brandon has done and what Sean has done. And we had a meeting when he first got hired 4 years ago. This is really what a coach is about to me. He called us. He wanted to have a meeting with me, Thurman, Jim, Daryl, Cornelius, Steve Tasker. He wanted to have a meeting with us and really pick our brains about what it took to not only be a great team, but not to keep all those guys together on the same page with all those egos. How did that happen? And we had a meeting with him. We had dinner. We had some wine. We just talked. And I'm telling you, this guy did not say one word. Sean McDermott didn't say one or two words, hardly one or two words. And he just was writing notes down. And I'm sure he went back to his team and said, hey, I had a nice dinner and chat with these guys. And this is how they did it. And we need to take a page out of how they did it and, put it in our book. And I think he's done that. And it took him 4 years. And I commend him, no doubt about it. I commend what he's done. And he said he was going to change the culture, and he's done that.
Buffalo Bills great Hall of Famer Andre Reed joining us here on ESPN San Antonio. And one of the things we're going to miss so much about not being able to participate in the Super Bowl and all the and sundry events that go along with it is the Gridiron Greats and the Assistance Fund and Mike Ditka's Gridiron Greats party that goes on that works with such a great cause. And you've been so active with the Gridiron Greats organization over the years. Yeah. Tell us why there needs to be a Gridiron Greats organization.
Well, there's no doubt every sport has players of the past that aren't well off like they used to be, and that's because of financial heartaches, of medical heartaches. Let's face it, that's just what the game does to you. And football is no different than any other sport, but football is sorry guys, football is a very physical sport. It's very physical. But one thing about it is we're celebrating Pork Rinds Appreciation Day for a reason. And what Mike Ditka has done with the Gridiron Greats Assistance Fund is he's allowed all this to happen, and people have given to the fund to help guys like this. And we're 1 day away from whatever happening. And I think, guys that built this game, some of these guys aren't doing as well as they should. And they need assistance. They need help. And Mike has had a party at every Super Bowl that I've been at in the past 20 years. When I played him, obviously I can go to it, but it's just a culmination of guys that support him. There's at least 100 to 150 players that go to this, and we're reminiscing about our playing days. We talk about different players. We talk about what we're doing in our lives and how you're feeling and how's your family. It's just really helping brothers from the past and sharing stories on and off the field and memories about the game that we love to play. And that's really what the Gridiron Assistant Fund does. And Southern Recipes and Pork Rind Appreciation Day is a part of it. And people can get involved in it if they go to porkrinds.com, and there's a lot of stories on there, again, like I said, and experiencing the game through guys' eyes, and they could win $5,000 and a year supply of pork rinds. And I don't know if you guys ever ate pork rinds, but these things are pretty good.
Yeah, they Southern Recipe. I mean, every day I appreciate pork rinds, but Pork Rind Appreciation Day is on Super Bowl Sunday, and we do a weekly deal with our friends at Southern Recipe Small Batch. They're fantastic. And gridirongreats.org if you want to learn more about what Coach Ditka does. And those parties, legendary parties.
And let me tell you, the cigars are out of this world. They got top-notch cigar makers and different companies that come in, and it's really just a camaraderie, because you don't see guys like you used to, especially when you played either as opponents or guys in the locker room. That's really the one thing I miss the most about the game, is coming in the locker room every day and seeing those guys, knowing that they're going to go to bat for you every Sunday when you're out there playing. And that's really what that Gridiron Systems Fund is about. It's about guys coming together, giving of their time, reminiscing, and giving back to guys that really need it.
Andre Reed right here on ESPN San Antonio. And a word to the wise, a little safety tip for those that do attend the Gridiron Greats Assistance Fund, the Mike Ditka cigar party that goes along with Jaws as well. Jaworski co-hosts those things on a regular basis. Don't touch Ray Lewis's cigars. That's something.
That's a whole other story, right? We don't.
But if you ever accidentally pick up Ray Lewis's cigar box, put it down. Andre Reed, we want to thank you for joining us here on ESPN.
Before we go, I got a good story. I go to Phoenix a lot. I live in San Diego, and I go to Phoenix a lot to play golf. And I met a guy. He has a cigar bar there in Scottsdale. Like it's called the Torch Cigar Bar, and he made me an honorary member of Torch Cigar Bar, and I became number 3 as far as having a locker there. Nice. And guess who's number 1?
Ray Lewis.
So I was like, why can't I be number 1? And it's like, well, you can't, because Ray Lewis is number 1. I said, well, I'm not going to try to take that from him, because I might be walking somewhere one day and he'll come out of nowhere and blast me. So
all right, but Andre, who's 2?
You know what? I think it's Charles Barkley. I think Barkley's number 2.
Yeah, that's about right. He'll stay at number 2.
Yeah.
That's everything you need to know about Ray Lewis. In Charles Barkley's town, Ray Lewis is number 1. Charles Barkley is number 2 at the Cigar Club.
Yeah. I don't even think Charles wants to mess with Ray. So
no one. I'm telling you, don't get near Ray Lewis's cigars. We'll just leave it. I saw muscles flex I didn't even know existed. Andre Reed, a Hall of Famer, and one of those guys that understands his place in the world, because you're a Hall of Famer. You have done such great work with those that really need it so much. Andre, thank you so much for joining us, man. Stay safe. We look forward to seeing you face-to-face as soon as we possibly can. It's always a pleasure catching up, man.
You got it. Thanks for having me, guys. And again, keep doing what you guys are doing. This Gridiron, like I said, this Gridiron Greats Assistant Fund is really important, and people can win prizes. And if you ever get to one of those parties, you meet a lot of legends, no doubt about it.
Andre Reed right here on ESPN San Antonio. The website is gridirongreats.org. You can go to porkrinds.com. There are prizes to be won, but there is good to be done. Offer and help those guys that built the game that we get to see now. Coming back, we got a lot to talk about with those San Antonio Spurs. They take a big one last night against the Lakers, 2-0 in LA, and they're heading to Minnesota. How did it happen? How did they suddenly turn it around? Is it just LaMarcus? We'll look at it. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Jason Minix here for New Brakes, nubrakes.com. New Brakes is a mobile brake shop. They'll come to you to fix your brakes. At New Brakes, they've made getting your brakes repaired easy, convenient, and affordable. Whether you're at home or you're at the office, they're going to come to wherever you are and fix your brakes. And all they do is fix brakes. They handle most repairs in less than an hour. New Brakes only uses premium brake parts, and they back all repairs with a 24-month, 24,000-mile warranty. Go read all the 5-star reviews. And look, nobody likes to deal with a mechanic at any level, but at least with New Brakes, they've taken the hassle of having to go to a shop and wait or drop your car off and go back and get it. You continue to do whatever it is you do while they're outside fixing your brakes. That's what they do. You got 3 NFL playoff games on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. Go to nubrakes.com right now. Schedule your repair. You can get your brakes fixed without missing it down. It's incredible what they've done. It's easy, convenient, and affordable. More affordable when you mention my name. When you go to nubrakes.com, mention my name, Jason Minix or ESPN San Antonio, you are going to save 10%. Nubrakes.com. That's nubrakes.com.
Follow your favorite San Antonio area high school on 210varsity.com. Instant scores anytime on any device. Upload photos and videos from the action on your school's page. Click on 210varsity.com. Powered by Hill Electric, MomNeedsABrakeCleaning.com, and ESPN San Antonio.
It's Wild Card Weekend, and you can follow all the action at betonline.net. For the first time in league history, 6 games are on the board during the opening round of the playoffs. Feature games Saturday include Indy at Buffalo and LA at Seattle. On Sunday, Chicago visits the Big Easy, while divisional rivals Cleveland and Pittsburgh square off. Check out all the action this week at betonline.net as the journey to Tampa gets underway. Always available online or your mobile device. Visit betonline.net today. Bring the game home at betonline.net.
Injuries happen. If you twist, pull, pump, or snap something, you need to know about the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. From a minor sprain to a compound fracture, TSAOG has got you covered. Not all injuries require surgery. Dr. David Espinosa treats all non-operative orthopedic injuries and concussion baseline testing. Telemedicine services are available through Ortho Connect. If you're hurting, go to the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. Online, TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com.
Ready to create your own income with your own home-based business where there's no such thing as getting laid off? If a billionaire entrepreneur spent 5 years and $20 million searching for the next big trend, wouldn't you want to know what he found? If you're serious about making money from home without having to leave home, then write this down. www.goherenext.com. You decide your income. Get the facts now. GoHereNext.com.
I like a bed that's really firm.
I need something a little softer than that.
Rest easy. With the Sleep Number 360 smart bed, you can both adjust your comfort with your Sleep Number setting.
Can it really help me fall asleep faster?
Yes, by gently warming your feet.
Okay, but can it help keep us asleep?
It senses your movements and automatically adjusts to keep you effortlessly comfortable. Sleep Number, proven quality sleep is life-changing sleep. And now, during the lowest prices of the season, the Queen Sleep Number 360 C2 smart bed is only $8.99. Only for a limited time. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Get in on all of the football action with DraftKings, the leader in one-day fantasy sports. Draft your lineup and feel the sweat like never before. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Download the DraftKings app now and use code GREENY. For a limited time, new users can get a free shot at millions of dollars in prizes this week. That's code GREENY only at DraftKings. Make it rain. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
It is the Blitz. You're on ESPN San Antonio. If you missed any of the Andre Reed interview, man, that was good. You can go to ESPNSA.com, the AA Best Bail Bonds audio vault, and catch up with all things Blitz. It's our personal podcast center. Grab what you'd like and take it with you wherever you might be. And if you're at ESPNSA.com, you can watch us live. You know, we are heading into a weekend with lots of stuff going on, not only in the NFL, but right here at ESPN San Antonio. Our Pro Football Playoff Challenge is in effect. You can go to ESPNSA.com, get yourself signed up. A playoff contest continue, prizes to be had, to be TBD. but we'll have something for the winner. You can easily go there as well. And then on Monday, the 10K payday gets started right here at ESPN San Antonio. We're going to be giving away 10K a day. It's easy. Just go to ESPNSA.com. All the details there. If you go right now, we've got a bunch of extra entries to be had by following us on Twitter and our YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff. We want you to get some squala. We'll stimulate you the right way as we talk San Antonio Spurs. Hey, the late night games, the West Coast vibe, the being trapped in probably a fantastic hotel, probably in Sherman Oaks or somewhere fabulous with perfect weather and all that. We heard Pop a couple of days ago. He was a little surly because he didn't get to do what he normally does. But I'll tell you what, there has been a renewed focus. We got 2 consecutive wins against 2 of the better teams in the West so far this year, and they continue to improve over the last 2.
And I was much more impressed with the win over the Lakers than the Clippers. I thought the win over the Clippers had more to do with a lack of interest on the part of the Clippers. Last night, wire to wire, you had a solid win over a fully functioning Lakers team. Going in, we didn't know if Anthony Davis or LeBron James was going to sit. We anticipated one of them would, and they didn't. That's a huge confidence-boosting win for the Spurs. And again, if they're going to start at 9 o'clock, and I'm going to sound like Sean Elliott did last night late in the broadcast, he's in San Antonio at the AT&T Center. So he's up later than apparently he wants to be down at the AT&T Center. And apparently at halftime, the AT&T Center can be a spooky place. But, you're staying up late, and they're making it worth it. They really are. You're not turning off these games, which I fully anticipated, knowing I had to get up at a stupid hour today. If the Lakers are winning by 30, I was going to bed. And the Lakers never were really, I never felt like with about 8 minutes to go, I was actually texting with Jill Jelnick, who's going to join us a little bit later. Do these Spurs hang on or do they blow this? And she's like, they're going to hang on. And they did. When the Lakers got it to within single digits, the Spurs went on another run and just put the Lakers away. That was a big win for San Antonio.
It felt good because not only did they beat them, they led basically wire to wire, and they did it in the way that they want to play. They did it in the way making 16 made threes on the heels of 20 made threes before. We saw what Rudy Gay is capable of as the big small, the small big. We've got LaMarcus, who is finding – I still don't think it's a perfect mesh, but he brings enough of what he used to do. And that's a clock killer, but a shot maker on top of that. And we saw a nice little fadeaway jumper there late in the game that really helped to seal it. But he's also doing some of the new stuff as well. And he's taking the threes and putting the ball on the ground and doing all of that. I don't know if it's something he likes doing. I don't know if it's taking him out of his comfort zone, but it is certainly helping the Spurs because with his scoring and with Rudy Gay's ability to keep the ball moving, the front line has been very effective, and it lets this myriad of dudes that are just coming in, and they're winning, minus Derek White, mind you. We still don't even see our point guard. We had one game of that. DeJounte's growing into it. DeMar is growing into it. Even Lonnie is getting a little bit less selfish, you know what I mean? Or a little bit more selfish and taking a little bit more offensive activity, more shots, but he's passing the ball well too. Hence 28 assists yesterday. They did move the ball. Not quite beautiful game, but you can see where they're headed.
One of the things that was, there was a lot impressive yesterday, and let's go with some, we'll credit all the young guys, but Rudy Gay had a great game last night. LaMarcus Aldridge, they can't win without that guy. But you had an off night from Keldon Johnson, who to this point in the season is their MVP. I would argue that Keldon Johnson is the best player or the most consistent player on the Spurs this year, but he did not have a good game last night. And they were still able to have a convincing win over the Los Angeles Lakers. Last night was a great confidence booster. I said after the Clippers game, when they damn near pissed it away in the final 90 seconds, that they don't know how to win yet. They don't know how to close out a game. They come back one game later, and they closed out the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers dialed it up, and the Spurs responded.
Can the Spurs continue to play well and continue to do this without Jakob Poeltl and the significant minutes that he's going to need to play? Can they continue to do this without his offense? Because that is it's going to get more and more important.
I mean, I want to say they can because, he's never been the offensive guy. And he, in the bubble, it's not like he was this offensive guy. I thought he was going to be more involved in the offense. He said he wanted to be more involved in the offense. The Spurs said he could be more involved in the offense, but I think any offense you get from him is gravy.
6 rebounds in 15 minutes. That's appropriate, but we do need to see more time and more buckets. But you're right. I think anything that we get from him is gravy. Devin Vassell continues to offer, the more minutes than most rookies get. Last night with 14 minutes and shooting 500 from 3, 2 for 4 there. Between he and Keldon, who shoots a higher arcing jump shot?
Keldon,
that ball comes down with ice on it, man. It is a beautiful thing to watch, but it kind of slows the game down, man. Where the clock ticks as it goes up, comes back down.
Look, Keldon's he's a salty vet at this point. They're not playing slow down basketball, so the only time you can rest is when that shot's in the air. So he's making sure he's getting that rest.
Like I always taught my boys, up, not out. Shoot that ball straight up, let it fall right in and tickle. And as it does, man, Keldon's got a sweet, soft shot. And Devin Vassell continues to offer that three-point shooting that opens things up. Coming back, this is a weird day for Jeopardy fans as it's goodbye to one of the greats, Alex Trebek, and welcome to Keith Jennings. He was taken over, much like Bill Russell did with the Celtics, or Ken Jennings.
Keith,
like Bill Russell did.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
It's his cousin. And Dick Nolan's I hear, might be out of work.
Yeah, he's definitely out of work.
How's Jim O'Brien doing?
He's on the beach. He's on the beach with Deshaun Watson, or actually on a nice boat somewhere.
Coming back, we'll talk Jeopardy and scenic views. Lots to watch down at Twin Peaks. We'll hit it all. Hang on tight. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Before the big game February 7th, we'll have Pro Football Playoffs. Join ESPN San Antonio's Pro Football Playoff Challenge at ESPNSA.com and pick each week's winners. Sign up today at ESPNSA.com.
You're ready to get back into yoga, so you order the essentials. A non-slip mat, yoga blocks to keep balance, and an exercise ball. And you use your Bank of America Cash Rewards credit card, choosing to earn 3% cash back on online shopping and up to 5.25% as a preferred rewards member, which you put towards your most essential yoga gear. Noise-canceling headphones.
Welcome. Take a deep breath. Breathe.
Apply for yours at bankofamerica.com/more rewarding. Copyright 2020 Bank of America Corporation.
I want the house.
What? All the money I spent and you think you should get?
Why shouldn't I? All the sacrifices I made for your precious little business.
That business paid for everything you have.
The business I was never paid to work for?
Oh, don't even go there.
Oh, I'm going there.
Divorce can be ugly, especially for your spouse. Call the Calfis Law Group today. Prepare yourself before they do. 212-6969. That's 212-6969. The Calfis Law Group, the group that specializes in divorce.
The Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Squares Sweepstakes is back. It's the largest official game of Super Bowl Squares ever, with millions of dollars in prizes, and best of all, it's free to enter. Every score change, someone wins $50,000. Just enter for free at rocketmortgagesquares.com, and it could be you. Touchdowns, field goals, safeties, extra points. Every single score change will draw one lucky winner from the square to win $50,000. Plus, 2 grand prize winners will win $500,000 they could use toward their dream home. One way to enter, 2 ways to win. See rules and enter for free at rocketmortgagesquares.com. Then tune into the Super Bowl on February 7th to see if you bring home some dough. Rocket Mortgage, official mortgage sponsor of Super Bowl 55.
No purchase necessary. Legal residents of the 50 U.S. and D.C. of age of majority. Ends 2/4/2021, 11:59 p.m. Eastern. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLS number 3030. The NFL entities as defined in the official rules have not offered or sponsored this promotion in any way.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Do you love sports? Are you a former college or high school athlete? How'd you like to build a money-making career for yourself in sports and athletics? Well, now you can with the new ISSA Personal Training for Strength and Conditioning certification. Learn everything you need to know about personal training to get a job with major sports teams, high school and college athletic programs, and more. From personal training to coaching, you'll be ready to help athletes perform at their best. And the ISSA guarantees you'll get a job. That's right. Get ISSA certified and get a job in fitness guaranteed. Just text SPORTS to 323232 now to get started for free. You do everything at your own pace and 100% online with an ISSA Strength and Conditioning certification. compensation, you'll be able to command top dollar working with athletes. Just text SPORTS to 323232 now to get started for free. Don't wait another day to start your career in sports and athletics. Get certified and start making money fast, guaranteed. Just text SPORTS to 323232 right now to get started for free. Text SPORTS to 323232.
Introducing Fidelity Income Planning. We look at how much you've saved, how much you'll need, and help you build a straightforward plan to generate income, even when you're not working. A plan that gives you the chance to grow your savings and create cash flow that lasts. Plus, you can start, stop, or adjust your plan at any time. Talk to us today so we can help you go from saving to living. Fidelity Brokerage Services, member NYSE, SIPC.
Rain, sleet, and snow are coming to threaten your visibility and turn your commute into a battle. But the Michelin Man is ready to protect you with Michelin Stealth Wiper Blades. Exclusive SmartFlex technology makes these blades flex to the curve of your windshield, giving you the best wipe possible and streak-free, long-lasting performance for safer driving. Winter is coming, and when it arrives, be ready. Michelin Wipe Blades. It doesn't get any clearer than this. Available at Walmart, Pep Boys, Amazon, and other fine retailers.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com. We've got game night San Antonio. No, the Spurs aren't playing tonight, but they got a back-to-back, a doubleheader as they travel up to Minnesota, take on the Twins. I wonder who the Spurs will have up on the mound in game one. We'll talk about that as the doubleheader
comes nice up catch, Chad. That was a kick save and a beauty.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I salvage things.
I mean, that was wild.
We're headed toward an unprecedented playoff weekend. More playoff games will be played over this weekend than any time ever in the NFL because of the extra teams. And it starts out tomorrow at noon, and it just literally goes when you include the championship game up till Monday night, a football fandango, the likes of which we've never seen. You want to head over to Twin Peaks and knowing that every game will be on all those many scenic view televisions. Starts at noon tomorrow. And while we had out Andre Reed, I look at the Bills. They're the most likely to get to the AFC Championship game / most likely to be upset.
I see where you're going with that. I mean, when you look at picking upsets this weekend, I think the Indianapolis is not going to go into Buffalo and get a win. So I think that would be considered an upset. I do think Cleveland, even without practicing, can go into Pittsburgh and get a win. Tennessee's going to beat Baltimore. Everybody's picking Baltimore but me, apparently. But I don't even look at that as much of an upset.
I'm not sure if it's really an upset at this point, but yeah, I think you're alone, quite frankly. You're not?
James you're in? He's raising his hand.
Yesterday, I told you I was all over the Titans. They're going to go in there, and Derrick Henry's going to run down their throat again.
I think you might need to check the tape, but okay. I mean, it's one of those things, and you talk about the championship game Monday night. Apparently, Ohio State got a win today. Michigan is going to keep Jim Harbaugh. So I don't know if Monday matters as much now for the Buckeyes.
The Buckeyes are set for the next 5 years. The rivalry, non-existent for the next half decade. Hey, Mike Fisher of 105.3 The Fan's going to join us about 6:20 or so on the heels of the announcement, the dynamic news dump that is typical on Friday afternoons. The Cowboys have fired their defensive coordinator, Mike Nolan, and their defensive line coach, Jim Tomsula. The expectation is more names to follow. We'll ask Fish about the possible replacements, guys that might come in. There's a couple of former head coaches floating around right now that might be available to take over DC. We'll look at the Spurs with Jill Jelnick and have a lot of fun as we close down a fun and crazy week. Hang around. You're on the Blitz.
Without more licensed workers, Gary's roofing business might hit its ceiling.
Hey, that new contract just got pushed up. We are going to need all hands on deck to make this happen.
Hey, Gary, you booked me on that other job next week.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
See the best of the best, the area's top high school seniors in the San Antonio Sports All-Star Football Game presented by HEB. 112 All-Stars from 62 high schools will compete in the annual showdown. Saturday, January 30th at Hero Stadium. Tickets are just $10 in advance, $15 on game day. The San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by HEB. January 30th at Hero Stadium, kickoff at 2 p.m. Tickets available at sanantoniosports.org. Sponsored by HEB, the U.S. Army, and Sierra, PMG, Whataburger, and Frost.
Well, San Antonio, it's official. 2020 is hindsight, and it couldn't happen soon enough. Chip Ingram here from the Root Home. As 2021 takes over, we're excited for NFL playoffs, the new look Spurs, and the prospect of life without masks and curfews and daily briefings. I want to thank you personally for your support through one hell of a year, and invite you to keep coming back to the Root Home, located at 281 in Redland Road. See you at the Root.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider and are only available if the provider determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. You pay just $30 for a month's supply. And right now, get your first online doctor's visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/real. That's right, free, zero copay, no expensive appointments, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. Hims connects you to doctors online who can evaluate you and, if appropriate, prescribe your ED medication. And a pharmacy sends it right to your door. Hims makes it affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/real. That's forhims.com/real for your free online visit. forhims.com/real.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2020 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
Pro Extra is the Home Depot's free loyalty program built for pros. Members earn perks just for shopping, like new Pro Extra dollars or tool rental perks. Get exclusive benefits every day that save time and money. And here's an extra, $20 off your next in-store purchase of $200 or more, just for signing up. Want to save? Join Pro Extra, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Visit the Pro Desk in-store or at homedepot.com/Pro Extra for details.
This is Ryan Tannehill. You're listening to San Antonio Sports Leader, 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
KCDC San Antonio. Jason Minix, Rob Thompson, The Blitz.
It's The Blitz. Welcome on to ESPN San Antonio. I hope your week has been, it's over, almost. Nothing like living a page on a history book for a week,
Did you leave the week with your Twitter account intact?
Well, at least I can wake up tomorrow and my small group of followers, I will have more than the sitting president.
Imagine, you might get upset if you lose 3 or 4 in a day. Imagine losing 88 million
That's
in
half.
a day. Twitter has permanently suspended Donald Trump's Twitter account. Some may say a little bit too late, but it was done today.
Hey, for those of you who have noticed, here on ESPN San Antonio, we treat politics much like most Irish bars do. We don't talk that nor religion because it lends itself to fisticuffs. And every now and then it might be worth it, but we don't do that here. But that was just quite funny. So you wake up in the morning and every follower is gone. How many burner accounts do you think we're going to have?
Well, I mean, now Emily Bachman from Channel 4 said, is he still able to use the @POTUS account? Which is possible.
He has to start this with, on the POTUS account, it has to start with not Donald J. Trump.
And then, but I would imagine there would be, some burner accounts. I mean, I'm sure he's got the email that he gives when you're shopping at Costco and they want you to sign up for something for the discount. So you give him that fake email address. I'm sure he's got one of those, right?
MAGA 2020
the old AOL account. Yeah.
We're going to start seeing some
just amazing. I mean,
if Barron Trump suddenly starts tweeting out some crazy ass stuff, we'll know that his dad's grabbed his phone. When we come in the 6 o'clock hour, we got lots to talk about. Jill Jelnick's going to join us. We got Game Night San Antonio. We'll reflect on the Lakers and the Clippers wins and look forward to what might look to be two very winnable games against the Minnesota Timberwolves and their number one pick. We're looking at the Dallas Cowboys as well. Mike Fisher, 105.3 The Fan's going to join us in just a couple minutes as we look at the Cowboys defense. Today it was announced a little after 4 o'clock that they had fired their defensive coordinator, Mike Nolan. They had fired Jim Tomsula, their defensive line coach, and the Twitter sphere is active, saying more to come, though we haven't heard anything yet. Now, Jason, the defense was god awful. I mean, it was as bad could possibly be to start. They didn't fall off the floor. They rolled over and managed to kind of hang on there for a couple of games, started to create some turnovers, and the genuine thought was he might have been doing enough to kind of hold on to the job, but in hindsight, that's not the case. So what do you want? What would you look for in a defensive coordinator to come in and rectify a situation where right now there's a lot of flux? We don't know who's going to be here and who's not.
Well, I think the one thing that we've got to recognize is just firing Mike Nolan does not make this defense now respectable, because Mike Nolan was only as good as what he had to work with. He just didn't put him in the best possible situations, trying to force a new system and a new scheme. And, Mike Nolan talked about it late in the season. He dialed some stuff back, and they tried to work on communication issues that they had early in the season. Jerry Jones this week talked about the mistake that he made because he underestimated the power of COVID in relation to football and trying to do this virtually while changing a system with the veterans that were there, but also the new guys coming in. And, you go back and you look at one of the reasons that they kept Kellen Moore initially was to keep the continuity with the quarterback. They didn't offer the same respects to the defense. And I think they underestimated just how difficult it was going to be to change the defense. Now, I saw Wade Phillips tweet out a couple of days ago that you can go from a 3-4 to a 4-3 and have an instant turnaround, but you have to have the players to do that. So just because the Cowboys are going to get a new defensive coordinator, and maybe it's a new scheme, maybe it's the old scheme, maybe it's a hybrid of both, until they get some better players on the defensive side, some of those issues are still going to be there. But I'll look at a guy like Jalen Smith, who, quite frankly, has taken the brunt of the abuse from fans and media alike for his piss-poor play. Part of that is because the dude got paid. He celebrates everything. He seems to be more about him than team. I digress. I don't want to sound too much like RJ Ochoa. But we don't know if Jalen was doing what he was supposed to be doing. I thought it was interesting at the end of the season when asked if he thought he would be back, he said, dude, look at the tape. And those that look at the tape know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's a very true statement. Dat Wynn used to talk about that all the time is, I would start blasting a secondary guy and he'd say, you're mad at the wrong guy. That wasn't his. He was supposed to switch here and this was supposed to happen. And, and so we don't know what Jalen was supposed to be doing or how he graded out on the tape, but my football IQ, your football IQ, everybody that watches football realizes Jalen Smith has digressed at an unbelievable pace, partially because of the salary he's got and the production that you're getting from him. He has his moments, don't get me wrong. He's not a total bust, but he's not the stud player that he comes across as he is.
The firing the rumors around, and it was obvious that players felt like that Tom Sula and Nolan weren't very good teachers, that they didn't translate what they wanted done very well. And certainly these are two former head coaches, and they've been around the league for a long time. And I'm sure they're as technically savvy as any other 55-year-old guy. I'm sure that but the idea of getting the ideas across, I think, ran into issues. And with that in mind, when you look at the availability for defensive coordinators, there's a lot of former head coaches floating around out there. You just mentioned Wade Phillips. And personally, I would love to see Wade come back and have
Great
Jerry
defensive
swallow his
coordinator.
pride. Yes, and just know that you're never going to be able to promote him above that. But as head coach, as a defensive coordinator, he's been successful everywhere. And you've got Sharm Lewis and Matt Patricia, Dan Quinn, and now Dom Capers. All of these former head coaches. And we just had 2 former head coaches get fired. Do you think there's something there with the head coach coming down to almost position group and teaching there that was lost in translation, or it was just a bad fit for the situation that they ran into?
I think it was a bad fit. And when you talk about the lack of teaching, and then when you look at COVID, I work with a 55-year-old man, and technology sometimes can be a little bit difficult. So I can only imagine, for Mike Nolan, who puts Tabasco in his eye, that, maybe teaching in a COVID world wasn't right for him. I look at a guy like Marvin Lewis, who is on the staff with Herm Edwards at Arizona State. I know that Marvin Lewis is doing a lot of teaching out there. And then you look at some of the other college DCs that have NFL ties, and you wonder if some of those want to make a jump. I know there's going to be names that are going to start popping up. I don't know how serious of candidates they are, because then you have to start looking at who has McCarthy worked with most recently, who you think might be in line, because you start there, just like you did with Nolan. What's the friend group like? Are they going to bring in somebody from the outside? Is there somebody in a playoff run right now that maybe is a linebacker coach that could make the jump to defensive coordinator? Do you want a guy that just got fired, like say in Minnesota? Probably not. At least I don't, because that defense was just awful. A Matt Patricia, who was a good defensive coordinator, was a piss poor head coach. He's looking for a job. Could it be somebody like that? So right now, I don't know. What I do know is you want somebody that can be a little bit more hands-on. I was surprised that Chris Richard went from the next to out of the building. But that guy was a hands-on teacher. We saw that when we were in Oxnard at Cowboys training camp. But they've got to do something with the personnel, because until you start working on improving the personnel, it doesn't really matter who's calling the plays.
You mentioned a couple of names that are just being thrown out early on, and we're going to have Mike Fisher join us here in about 10 minutes as we looked at the firing. If you're just joining us, the Cowboys let go of 2 of the 3 primary coaches on the front 7. Defensive coordinator Mike Nolan is gone. Jim Tomsula, the defensive line coach, is gone. Leon Lett, the assistant coach, he ain't going anywhere. I think he's certainly safe there. We're seeing some tweets coming out from the Dallas area that there might be more firings to follow, maybe on the defensive side, though as of yet, no word.
Well,
I'm curious.
Defensive side, and maybe even special teams, the side of the ball. I mean, because the special teams certainly had their issues, and you wonder how much of a house cleaning Mike McCarthy will have after 1 year. And it's interesting, because when we talked to Mike McCarthy earlier this morning, Breakfast with the Blitz brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. And if you missed it, you can go listen to it on the podcast. But, we were talking about, without directly asking him, are you going to fire the guy? Because, he's not going to answer that question. Are you going to fire Mike Nolan? He wouldn't answer that question, but he did say decisions on the staff were going to come next week.
Well, that's part of the exit interview process. We'll continue. It's really twofold. Sometimes it takes 3 days to get through the players. Then you go through I've been working with the coordinators here the last couple of days, and then we'll move on to the assistant coaches over the weekend, and I'll probably wrap that up by the end of next week.
Yeah, so he didn't want to wait for the weekend, and maybe it's because Mike Nolan finished all his exit interviews and got the report done and said, here you go, coach. And he said, okay, well, that was your last assignment. You're gone.
We're still expecting to hear something about you talked Jalen Smith. We talked Jalen Smith with McCarthy. The linebacker play was up and down this year. I think they were hamstrung early on by the injury to Leighton Vander Esch, but Jalen Smith never did perform very well. And it's always nice to have Sean as kind of a help but they thought they had something that they don't have. And you look there at the defense with not only Jalen Smith, but the defensive line losing guys to injury, to attitude, whatever it might be. They're whittled down. Do you need the defensive coach prior to free agency in the draft? Do we need to have the guy to figure out which way we're going? Or do you figure McCarthy has a plan? This is the defense, and we're just going to find a guy to mesh with what we've already got.
Well, all right. So to answer your question, yeah, you're going to have to decide, this is the defense that we are going to run, and we are going to build for the 3-4, the 4-3, whatever it is they decide is going to be yet. That's first and foremost. Then you go get players that certainly fit that. When you look at Tom Sula, you think about Gerald McCoy getting hurt right away. Dontari Poe never meshed. I thought the defensive line with some of the younger guys did play well. Linebacker coach somehow still has a job. That's a little surprising. Maybe Sean Lee retires and becomes the linebacker coach. Maybe there's still so many questions to be asked. But somebody was going to be the scapegoat for a 6-10 football team, and that somebody is Mike Nolan.
Gone. Packing and gone. Jim Tom Sula fired as well. We had a chance to talk with McCarthy earlier in the day, and he talked about things would be gone in the correct in due time, as it were. They announced it later today, and we do think that there are more terminations in the near future for the Dallas Cowboys. Mike Fisher's going to join us next at 105.3 The Fan as we look at the Dallas Cowboys in transition. They have the number 10 draft pick. They don't have a defensive coordinator, nor do they have a defensive line coach. Lots of uncertainty. 1 week to go before McCarthy heads out for a little brief respite up in Green Bay. We'll hear from Mike Fisher as the Cowboys and now endeavor on a coaching search. What do you guys want? We'll hear from Mike Fisher. And then Jill Jelnick will join us from Sports Tonight as we get ready for a double header with the Minnesota Timberwolves of the San Antonio Spurs back to back as they head into the frozen north. The Spurs win, but they need to take a coat. Lots to talk about. Hang where you are. Mike Fisher comes next. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Hey, we're both working toward a common goal. Quitting time! This is San Antonio's sports leader. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. All day, every day.
You took an antacid, and now your frequent heartburn's back. Stop heartburn before it begins with Prilosec OTC. Its unique delayed-release formula blocks heartburn at the source for 24 hours. So you can extinguish heartburn before it starts. Make the switch to Prilosec OTC today and live heartburn-free. Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents. And Doug.
Breathe out and repeat after me. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Your bird is eating my candles.
Your bird is eating my candles.
No, seriously, he's making a mess.
No, seriously, he's...
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Get a customized quote at libertymutual.com.
Message and data rates may apply up to 5 messages a month. T&C and privacy policy found at warbyparker.com/terms. Reply help for help or stop to cancel.
Have you ever wondered why eyeglasses cost so much? Glasses have been around 700 years. Isn't technology supposed to get less expensive over time? Well, there's a simple explanation. For decades, the eyewear industry has been dominated by a single company that's kept prices artificially high while reaping huge profits.
Yikes.
Warby Parker was created to change that. They design and produce their own eyewear and then sell it directly to you for a fraction of the price. Warby Parker's high-quality glasses start at just $95, including your prescription. And if you need an updated prescription, they've got a few easy ways to help you get one. Just go to warbyparker.com to try 5 pairs of frames for free. They'll ship them to you to try out for 5 days. If you find a style you like, they'll send you a fresh pair with your prescription. Easy. Go to warbyparker.com to pick your 5 frames to try on at home for free. That's warbyparker.com to get started for free. warbyparker.com.
See the best of the best, the area's top high school senior players in the San Antonio Sports All-Star Football Game, presented by HEB, January 30th at Hero Stadium. Current NFL pros Marcus Davenport and Josh Reynolds played here. It's the San Antonio Sports All-Star Football Game, 2 p.m. January 30th. Tickets just $10 in advance or $15 on game day. On sale at sanantoniosports.org. Sponsored by HEB, the U.S. Army, P&G, and Zero, Whataburger, Frost, Thomas J. Henry, and Generations Federal Credit Union.
It's Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom. 30 minutes before every game night on the Blitz, we give you an in-depth look at your silver and black.
This is Matt Bonner, a.k.a. the Red Rocket, a.k.a. the Red Mamba, a.k.a. the Sandwich Hunter.
Hi, this is DeJounte Murray. It's Game Night San Antonio.
Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom. 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Well, that's part of the exit interview process. We'll continue. It's really twofold. Sometimes it takes 3 days to get through the players. Then you go through I've been working with the coordinators here the last couple of days. And then we'll move on to the assistant coaches over the weekend, and I'll probably wrap that up by the end of next week.
Things moved quicker today than Coach McCarthy expected. As we moved right on, moved past go, paid our $200, and got rid of a couple of coaches. We are joined by Mike Fisher of 105.3 The Fan as we react to the Cowboys eliminating Mike Nolan as a defensive coordinator and one of the assistants as well. Fish, welcome aboard, man. How's your day going?
We're busy, but we're having fun.
Absolutely. Nothing like the Friday news dump. When we talked to Mike McCarthy this morning, he said any coaching changes would probably happen sometime next week, and he does it today. It's certainly no surprise that Mike Nolan was going to get fired, if you will, the scapegoat on a defense that was giving up about 30 points a game. Were you surprised Jim Tomsula also got fired, and who else do you think will get a pink slip?
Well, and first of all, to your conversation with Mike McCarthy, of course, he didn't exactly make the decision.
Truth.
The decision was made for him. Had it been left up to Mike McCarthy, I don't think he would have agreed with the decision. I think Mike McCarthy liked the idea of, listen, I've got my right-hand man here. I trust him. He's one of my closest friends. And we deserve a mulligan this year. And the problem with that idea is I had this conversation on the air on 105.3 The Fan with Troy Aikman the other day. We said, well, maybe all the coaches in the league deserve a mulligan. Well, okay, if one of them does, they all do. But the guys that went to the playoffs don't need a mulligan. So the Cowboys did something wrong in order to fail. COVID didn't make them 6-10. They made themselves 6-10. And Mike McCarthy cannot stand in front of a room of players and say, I hold everybody accountable. I believe in accountability. And then not fire a defensive staff guys that, as you know, is statistically the worst in franchise history, number one. Number two, mindlessly, brainlessly try to install a new defensive system over Zoom meetings over the summer without ever having met the players. That's never been done before. It'll never be tried again. It's the height of ignorance and arrogance to think, I'm such a good teacher, I'm just going to show you some pictures on the internet and you're going to learn a new VFit. Ridiculous. And then number three, what they did eventually install basically negated Tank Lawrence. It put Randy Gregory playing about 20% of the snaps for a big part of the season, which outraged the owner. And it took what a year before was a mediocre defense and made it a terrible defense. Those are the three reasons that Mike Nolan's gone, and Mike Tomsula, his right-hand man, is gone too. And yeah, I think there's more to come. I've got people inside the building, and they've been telling me this for months, that some of these guys are good guys, but they're not good teachers. The secondary coaches in particular simply have the secondary coaches have no experience to be running an NFL team. And being an FOM, friend of McCarthy, just isn't good enough.
Mike Fisher joining us here on ESPN San Antonio. Catch stuff on 105.3 The Fan. This is important to talk about, Mike, because I find this very interesting. These former head coaches didn't have the ability to communicate or teach through the Zooms and everything else over the year. As the Cowboys begin their search, is it going to be another friend of McCarthy, or are they going to go younger? What do you see in the future as far as replacing Nolan and the guys that he'll follow after that?
Well, George Edwards is in the building, former Vikings defensive coordinator, who considered himself a McCarthy guy, but not a Nolan guy. So he's not technically like on Nolan's staff. He's kind of just on the football staff. That would be a good compromise candidate because he's already here, he's already involved, and that would mean that McCarthy still gets one of his guys, but kind of off to the side. Two, the Joneses say, Mike McCarthy, listen, we let you do this unilaterally last year. You're not making the call by yourself this year. Let's bring in some people from outside the building that you aren't necessarily familiar with, and let's pick their brains. Let's talk to Quinn. Let's talk to Raheem Morris. Let's pick the brain of Wade Phillips. Let's look around, and then there's guys that McCarthy can have some connection with that the Cowboys might also like. Joe Witt almost got this job last year under McCarthy, good friend of his. And then remember Marvin Lewis interviewed last year as a head coach. And it was a courtesy interview, frankly. But the Joneses have a high opinion of Marvin Lewis. And guess where he's from originally, Marvin?
Pittsburgh.
Yep. And in 1990 and 91, he was the linebackers coach at University of Pittsburgh when there was a young GA just coming up there named Mike McCarthy. The Marvin Lewis hire, a George Edwards hire could pacify a lot of people. The Marvin Lewis hire would check almost every box.
It would, and he's done a good job there with Herm Edwards at Arizona State. Now, you bring up Wade Phillips. Could Jerry swallow his pride enough to call Wade Phillips, maybe not offer him the job, but get some consulting work from Wade?
Oh, I think Wade Phillips would answer that phone. Wade Phillips has an affection for
would
the
Jerry
Joneses,
dial
and they
it?
have one for him. Yeah, there's no reason. There's a reason for Jerry not to shove Wade Phillips down the head coach's throat. That doesn't. We've tried that here before. That's never a good idea. But to have Wade Phillips contributing ideas, that'd be never a bad idea. And then the head coach can throw the ideas in the trash can. It's kind of like the analytics department. They spend $1 trillion here on analytics, and then the head coach throws it in the trash can. This one and the last one. But that doesn't mean they're not valuable to have around, just in case somebody wants to learn something.
How much does the next hire have of an effect on Jalen Smith's future with the Cowboys?
Well, Jalen Smith got screwed by this coaching staff. And I know that the first thing you do is you look at Jalen and you go, Jalen, you're behind 23-0. Why are you doing front somersaults and back handsprings and high fives and swoop the loops? I get that. I understand why that's troublesome. But Jalen Smith should be a downhill linebacker who plays the run and rushes the passer. And if you ask Jalen Smith to drop into coverage and cover tailbacks, he's going to fail. So guess what? Don't ask Jalen Smith to drop into coverage, cover tailbacks. He's going to fail. This coaching staff failed Jalen Smith. They failed Tank Lawrence. They did a lot of people a disservice in making a bad decision that was driven by scheme instead of driven by the player's talent.
With that in mind, will the next defensive coordinator have to have a different scheme from what the Cowboys ran this year under Mike Nolan, or will they try to build off of like what Mike Nolan was wanting to try to do?
So there was about 12 of us media people when Mike Nolan first got hired, and we got to go up to like the Cowboys Club and have a cold beer with him and talk football, and it was really fun and enjoyable. And I asked him about scheme versus players. And he said, I've always believed, it's one of my foundation beliefs, you got to fit the scheme to the players and not the other way around. And I was so encouraged by that because a lot of coaches don't do it that way. And by God, they didn't do it that way at all. They ramrodded their scheme down the throat of the players. That's why players were upset. The players were being asked to do things that they knew they weren't good at doing. They're playing. Tank Lawrence is playing a 3-4. Why? Doesn't make any sense. And so they betrayed the players in that regard. And that's not just Nolan and Tom Sula. That goes all the way to the top.
Mike Fisher, 105.3 The Fan, joining us here on the Blitz. Do you have any idea? Is there any talk of a timeline here?
Well, Jerry traditionally takes his time, and that's why Jason Garrett hung around the Star for a month last year, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Without officially being fired. Des Bryant, they went months without making the decision to release him. The signing of Dak Prescott, it's like taking 3 years. There's no reason to wait. And the reason to hurry is this. All these other 6 teams are going to hire a head coach. Those head coaches are going to hire the hottest defensive coordinators that come with them. There goes 6 candidates that the Cowboys won't get because they're dragging their feet. Hopefully the Cowboys won't drag their feet.
And, Mike, you bring up Dak Prescott. They can start negotiations. How soon do you expect a new deal for QB1?
Well, I've been wrong every single offseason. I just thought it was so obvious that the two sides need to get together. And then we broke the story last year. Cowboys offered $35 million a year times 5, $106 million fully guaranteed. That's a good deal. And Dak's agent said, I want 4 years. And so it fell apart. I think the Cowboys, and Jerry basically said this on our station, 105.3 The Fan, the other day, Dak's got all the leverage. Admit it in public, admit it in private, get it done, because the air goes out of this building when Dak Prescott got hurt. And if Dak Prescott wasn't here, there wouldn't be any air anymore.
Mike Fisher, 105.3 The Fan, right here on ESPN San Antonio. As we look at the Dallas Cowboys releasing Coach Nolan into the wild, Tom Sula gone as well. Fish, man, we know you're busy. Thanks for taking some time out of what has been turned out to be a pretty busy Friday afternoon and enlightening us, man. Stay safe. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate you.
Mike Fisher, always on top of it, man. The dude's wired in of 105.3 The Fan. Might be a little bit, but no surprise that Nolan was gone. It's funny how when this happens and they go, oh yeah, he got fired. And let me tell you why. It wasn't just what you saw in the field. We didn't like him here. We didn't like this. We didn't like that. More and more of those stories are going to come out. They just did not like him. The exited players, now the coach is gone. And let's talk some Spurs. They are in the 8th seed, the playoff seeding. Playoffs?
Stop.
Hey, man, they're only 2 games out of first place. They're 2 games out of first place. They sit at 4-4 and 8th in the Western Conference. They're heading to Minnesota to take on the Timberwolves for a doubleheader. Let's look back to the Lakers and see how they did it, to see if it'll translate into the colder climes. Jill Jelnick will join us next for Game Night San Antonio, right here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
And you think about, the Spurs playing this weekend. You've got 6 NFL playoff games. You're going to fire up the grill, smoke some great meat. You need to get into Tri-County Meat Market. Locally owned and full service. They've carefully selected certified prime Angus beef cuts, Wagyu, upper choice, everything you need to up your grilling game, beef, chicken, pork fajitas, those poppers. It's incredible. The pick 5 for $25. And the weather ain't going to be great this weekend, but you're still going to fire up the grill, right? Yeah. Yeah.
If you got a Traeger, it never matters, man. It's the jet propulsion with a Traeger. Hey, it's a wild card weekend, and Tri-County has the specials to fit. You're going to do some fajitas. They are marinated to perfection, and they're only $10.99 a pound for your sirloin fajitas. Picanha, if you haven't done it, this is the weekend to go do it. A fantastic cut of meat and a great deal. $7.99 a pound for the beefiest cut of meat you will ever put on your grill. Marinated wings, yes, sir, $3.99 a pound, and all the beef ribs, $7.99 a pound. If you're a first responder, when you walk into Tri-County, you will get a 10% discount. Of course, that's all for military, police, firemen, and EMTs. Tri-County Meat Market has 2 fantastic locations. Go by and say howdy. Tell them we sent you here at the Blitz. Ralph Fair Road and over on Huebner. Go check out their website. It's meaty delicious, TriCountyMeat.com.
Sundays are for the grill. The Sunday Sports Grill, 11 in the morning to 1. Chop it up and grill with former and current Rock the Mic champs Michael Jimenez and Quinn Hudson. The Sunday Sports Grill, 11 to 1 every Sunday.
It's Wild Card Weekend, and you can follow all the action at betonline.net. For the first time in league history, 6 games are on the board during the opening round of the playoffs. Feature games Saturday include Indy at Buffalo and LA at Seattle. On Sunday, Chicago visits the Big Easy, while divisional rivals Cleveland and Pittsburgh square off. Check out all the action this week at betonline.net as the journey to Tampa gets underway. Always available online or your mobile device. Visit betonline.net today. Bring the game home at betonline.net.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español.
Hablo.
It's hablo.
It's Oblo.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real life situations.
The app is so easy to use and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at babbel.com. That's babbel.com, BABBEL.com.
Whether class is in school, at home, or a little bit of both, school goes on.
So Staples has everything your student needs at amazing prices. From notebooks to sanitizer, pencils to lap desks.
And this week, Staples marbleized comp books, 1-subject notebooks, and 12-count True Red No. 2 pencils are only 75 cents each.
Shop in-store or pick up curbside.
Restock for school and save big right now at Staples.
Ends 1/9/21 while supplies last. Curbside available in most stores.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents. And Doug.
Okay, class, let's bump it up to 9.
Come on, Limu, keep pedaling. We got to build our endurance to let more people know that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Pick up the pace, bird legs.
Hey, don't talk to Limu like that.
I'm not, I'm talking to you.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Get a customized quote at libertymutual.com.
New year, new budgets. Every small business has unique needs. And when you partner with a Dell Technologies advisor, you get real-time tailored advice. They'll even give you a free consultation on your servers and storage devices to develop a custom solution to help improve your company's productivity. Plus, get special financing with Dell Business Credit and big savings on business computers with Intel Core processors. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Whether you're a pro on the job site or managing properties, clean and safe is your #1 priority. And Lowe's has the pro-grade cleaning supplies you need. We go beyond the basics, bringing you commercial cleaning from top brands like Clorox, Zep, and Rubbermaid, and in larger sizes, so you can take on any cleaning job, knowing you have the quantity you need. Shop Lowe'sForPros.com and have your items delivered, or pick up in store. Lowe's, the new home for pros. U.S. only.
Game Night San Antonio. Brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom.
This is Manu Ginobili. This is Matt Bonner, a.k.a. the Red Rocket, a.k.a. the Red Mamba, a.k.a. the Sandwich Hunter.
Hi, this is DeJounte Murray. It's Game Night San Antonio.
Game Night San Antonio. Brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom.
Every time I hear Bonner say he's the Sandwich Hunter, it makes me laugh. You're on Game Night San Antonio. It's always brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom. The playoff-bound San Antonio Spurs sit in 8th place. Only 2 games out of first. They have rolled through. It's like the burning of Atlanta and Los Angeles. They smack down the Clippers and Bane, and then they take on the Lakers and Anthony Davis and LeJean Brames and smack them down too. Jill Jelnick of Sports Tonight joins Jason Minnick and myself as we talk to Spurs. There's no game tonight, so don't start chasing your TV. They're playing again tomorrow, and then the following day against Minnesota in a doubleheader. Jill, first thoughts on what the Spurs did last night, just about winning wire to wire.
I mean, how about the Spurs redemption tour, right? We were talking about the expectations at the start of this week, saying that, okay, this 5-game road trip, if they could get 2, maybe 3 of their last 3 games, as in the Timberwolves and OKC, hey, we'd be happy Spurs fans, right? They knocked off the 2 LA teams right away. That's my first impression is, wow, we need to change the expectations of this team because they are quickly getting it together, which we hoped all along they would.
Do we? I mean, that's part of my like I'm encouraged by what I saw last night. You know, I felt like the Clippers game was more about the Clippers' disinterest in playing the Spurs, and they held on and they got out of there with the win because the clock ran out. Last night, they beat the Lakers, but I don't know if we need to change our expectations, maybe temper them, because it's going to be a roller coaster season. You know, we're going to see nights like what we saw against the Utah Jazz, and then we're going to see nights like we saw last night.
But does it not reaffirm or give you any sort of relief that, hey, it could be their ceiling. This could be their potential right here. If they could figure out a way to develop that consistency, especially their 3-point game, having LaMarcus back, stay healthy. I loved the way they played last night. And just by watching them, I felt like, okay, this could be a San Antonio team that is different than what we anticipated game one. How about that?
Jill Jelnick of Sports Tonight joining Game Night San Antonio as we look at the Lakers win last night. A wire-to-wire, we've said it. You know, LaMarcus has a very interesting effect on this team. You know, the thought is his physical prowess just doesn't fit with the speed and the athleticism that looks like the young dudes are bringing on every night. But what he does bring is consistency and a consistent threat offensively. And he's certainly, when he is feeling it and making, getting the ball early in the clock, he certainly is opening up the game for the guards. You can see them kind of coming off of him, and not only are they not having to deal with double teams coming to them because they're staying around LaMarcus, but they're finding open shots because of the double teams that have to happen when he's out there. Can LaMarcus continue to do what he's doing and fit himself into where there might not be a thought to get rid of him at the trade deadline?
After this week, yes, absolutely, especially as we start to see his three-point shooting develop even further. I'm not saying we're going to rely on that or LaMarcus Aldridge is going to lead the way from behind the arc, but you said it, Rob. He helps open up opportunities. He creates opportunities. Not only does he provide a much-needed size that the Spurs need, that they were missing the last 4 games and came in just in time for the LeBron James, Anthony Davis tour, but he also moves the ball around, helps the guards get more opportunities, like you said, to help them get into an offensive rhythm. And the last 2 games in LA was proof of when everything comes together, LaMarcus Aldridge, that piece included, what they can do offensively.
I mean, they can't win without him. I mean, they've proven that this year. If he's playing, they're more than likely going to win a game. I thought there were so many things that were impressive last night, including Pop's vertical, and we'll get to that in a moment. But when you look at a game like they had last night with their most consistent player, if not their best player this year, Keldon Johnson, having an off night, you know, the fact that other guys picked up the slack when it's been Keldon picking up the slack for other guys up to this point, I was impressed that they were able to win with him having an off night.
Keldon didn't even score until the second half. His first points came off of 3 in the third quarter. That's an excellent point, Jason. And it shows you that with their multiple attackers and scorers, what they can do. They had 8 different players who converted 3-pointers last night, everyone from their starting lineup. Rudy Gay, 3 of 5 from behind the arc. Devin Vassell added 2 3-pointers. That's huge. Their versatility, their depth, that's going to be able to carry them down the line, assuming they can get this offensive consistency together.
Jill Jelnick of Sports Tonight right here on ESPN San Antonio as we look forward to the Spurs taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. You know, they had this little dip. The 4-game loss Utah was, just about as bad as it could be defensively. The one thread here not only has been the inconsistent defense and the shooting, but also I'm starting to see this trend again with Pop, and it's the third quarters continually to be an issue as far as getting started, maintaining that momentum that they had. Again, last night, they get outscored in the third. They start a little bit slower, and certainly you're dealing with the Lakers, but this is a trend that I have to believe if the Spurs do feel like they're a playoff team, and at this point, if you feel like you can make it, go get it now. But that's going to be a problem. How do you feel the Spurs can turn around just the third quarter doldrums?
Well, that's a great point because they have been atrocious in the third quarters. I will take their ability to close out games in the fourth over their slow starts in the third. But, I mean, whatever Coach Pop is telling them at halftime, he's got to mix it up because clearly it's not working. And you're right. It's got to be some sort of mental hurdle, bringing that same viciousness, that same attack mode that they brought the first 2 quarters. The good thing is, Rob, that's something that can be fixed. That's something that can be hopefully no longer a mental hurdle as they continue to do well in these first halves and also continue down the season. It's still early. We keep forgetting they're only 8 games in.
Yeah, it's way too early, Rob, to start thinking playoffs and free coffee.
We're an 8th seed. We're an 8th seed. We are 2 games out of first place. We just knocked off the Lakers. We just took down the Clippers. We've even had a brand new head coach one of the games. I mean, what are you talking about? Not playoff?
Yeah, again, it's one of those things. But what I do find, I mean, you talk about the starts of the game and whatever Pop's saying at halftime, you're right, mix it up. But his game prep, because in LA against the Clippers and the Lakers, they came out on fire. And again, and I will say my first reaction to both of them were, well, these LA teams just showed up. Once they kick it in, and you could tell when the Clippers turned it up a notch, the Spurs got tight and damn near blew it. Last night, the Lakers with about 6-8 minutes to go, they got it to within 10. Then I think they got to 8. And the Spurs responded well. We didn't see him respond well against the Clippers. We did see him respond well late in the game and close out the Los Angeles Lakers.
And I think that's a great point. Their finish, their ability. Thankfully, last night's game was a back and forth great game down to the wire, but it wasn't a dramatic thriller like we saw on Tuesday night. And I think that says something that not only it wasn't Tuesday night. Tuesday night wasn't sort of a gimme or a fluke or, hey, it was hot shooting night. The fact that they repeated their offensive explosion, the fact that they got it together again in LA against the defending champs, I think that should say something. And I want them to knock off the next 3 teams of this road trip. I want them to go 5-0 in this road trip after watching what they did these last 2 games.
Anthony Edwards was the number 1 draft pick in this NBA season. They get a chance to take a look at it. Did you guys see him knock his head on the backboard with a dunk? He's turned out to be a pretty effective first number 1 pick. Some interesting numbers we're going to look at when we come back with the Spurs' success this year, as they really have upped the tempo. They're averaging almost 5 more shots a game from what we saw last year. And I expect once Derek White arrives, that might even pick up more. The transition game playing a role as they head into Minneapolis to take on the Timberwolves. We'll look forward and keep Jill Jelnick around for one more segment because it's Friday. Hold on tight. We got more Spurs coming your direction here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Game Nights The Blitz focuses on your silver and black in depth for 30 minutes. Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom.
This is Matt Bonner.
Spend your game nights with us. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenics makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenics? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. This is a legit product. The key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenics is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenics.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text STREAK to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenics, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Nugenics samples are not available in stores, so text STREAK to 321-321 right now. Text STREAK to 321-321. That's STREAK to 321-321.
If you're a bacon lover, I've got great news for you. This is Michael Kielbasa with Kielbasa Smoked Meats. Our authentic dry-cured bacon is now available at grocery stores near you. We make it the old-fashioned way with the finest pork bellies in our legendary spice blend. We don't pump it full of water or chemicals like other brands. All you get is thick, savory slices of delicious bacon. I hope you'll give it a try, and if it's not the best bacon you've ever eaten, I'll give you your money back. Kielbasa Smoked Meats, slow crafted in Texas since 1949.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider and are only available if the provider determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. You pay just $30 for a month's supply. And right now, get your first online doctor's visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/real. That's right, free. Zero copay, no expensive appointments, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. Hims connects you to doctors online who can evaluate you and, if appropriate, prescribe your ED medication. And a pharmacy sends it right to your door. Hims makes it affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/real. That's forhims.com/real for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/real.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Do you love sports? Are you a former college or high school athlete? How'd you like to build a money-making career for yourself in sports and athletics? Well, now you can with the new ISSA Personal Training for Strength and Conditioning certification. Learn everything you need to know about personal training to get a job with major sports teams, high school and college athletic programs, and more. From personal training to coaching, you'll be ready to help athletes perform at their best. And the ISSA guarantees you'll get a job. That's right. Get ISSA certified and get a job in fitness guaranteed. Just text SPORTS to 323232 now to get started for free. You do everything at your own pace and 100% online. With an ISSA Strength and Conditioning certification, you'll be able to command top dollar working with athletes. Just text SPORTS to 323232 now to get started for free. Don't wait another day to start your career in sports and athletics. Get certified and start making money fast, guaranteed. Just text SPORTS to 323232 right now to get started for free. Text SPORTS to 323232.
Let me tell you why I love my Spurs.
Game Night San Antonio. Brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom.
This is Matt Bonner.
This is Manu Ginobili. Hi, this is DeJounte Murray. It's Game Night San Antonio.
Game Night San Antonio. Brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom.
It's Game Night San Antonio here on ESPN. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson. Jill Jelnick joins us from Sports Tonight, as she does always, in preparation for the Spurs games. Pleasure taking us all the way till 7 o'clock. I want to remind everybody the Saturday morning hangover, mañanas, 9 to 11. Pledge and Jack Thompson will get you ready and keep you going through our full playoff Saturday and Sunday. Then on Sunday at 11, we're debuting a brand new show. 2 hours of extraordinary sports entertainment. Mike Jimenez hosting. Quinn Hudson, our Rock the Mic champ, we're going to bring you 2 hours of sports fun. Yes, James? You look perplexed.
I didn't get an extraordinary tab.
Well, I mean, I got to blow up the new show. I mean, we got to really get it going, man. We got to push it out of the nest. It's extraordinary until it's not. We've talked a lot about the Spurs' success over the last couple of games, and certainly there are many that deserve a little bit of credit, and none more than LaMarcus. But DeJounte Murray appears to be on, I wouldn't call it a redemption tour, because certainly coming back from a knee injury is never easy. And you come in, try to rehab, come back with a bunch of guys that are just kind of coasting their career and having a bad year like we saw last year. This year, DeJounte, more minutes, averaging a little over 30 minutes a game. We're getting a little over 16 points a game. There's steals. There are assists. He's getting a little bit over 5 without Derek White there. Talk about the progression of DeJounte. Is he where you want him right now, or is there more work to be done for a guy that we think could be an all-star?
I love his progress. And Jason and I talked about DeJounte Murray's progress yesterday, Rob, when you were getting your tooth pulled or whatever you're doing at the dentist. But I think laying on the couch, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing is it's obvious he's taken that next step in his maturation process as a leader, as a teammate, as someone that has more consistency. You take away Sunday's game against the Utah Jazz, he is, I think, just been as consistent, if not a little more consistent than Keldon Johnson in terms of both offensively and defensively. I love where DeJounte Murray's at right now. Could we ask for more? I mean, of course, we would love him to be the leading scorer every single night, but that's not his role. His role is facilitator. His role is to help lead and create options and use space and his teammates to together develop that offensive rhythm that was, on full display the last 2 nights. I like where he's at right now. I think the biggest thing that he could do for the Spurs is be consistent with his production.
And again, I think it's fair to say I like what I'm getting from him, but I did expect more from him. Now, the knee injury obviously was a setback last year, a disappointment, but I do think he should be further along than he really is. But I also see Pop allowing DeJounte and the rest of the young dudes to make mistakes and stay on the floor, where I see Lonnie still looks like he's somewhat afraid to make a mistake. DeJounte, I think, is over that, but he's still, And on the defensive end, he's great. On the offensive end, there's times where you want to see him a little bit more aggressive. Same thing with Lonnie. Sometimes you want him to be a little bit more selfish with the basketball on the offensive end. And I think part of it is the fear of making a mistake and the repercussions of it. I loved what he said after the game against Utah. His pop got in his ass. And he responded with a great game against the Clippers. He responded with a really good game last night against the Lakers.
Aggressive. That's one thing that Lonnie is always going to be, and the aggression can take him out. Sometimes he just doesn't finish very well, and he gets a little bit ahead of himself. But certainly we want to see that continue. And I think this year over last, he's looking more comfortable, though I still think he appears to be a little bit lost. It's game night. San Antonio Spurs aren't playing tonight, though they will have a double as they park themselves in Minneapolis to take on the Timberwolves. They're 2-6. This is the kind of thing that I think the Spurs ran into, or vice versa. Clippers saw the Spurs after losing 4 straight and weren't ready. They sat Paul George and looked like they were just going to be the Clippers and win the game. As the Spurs roll and they step into the Timberwolves realm, this is a team that they should beat. They don't get this very often. This is a team they should roll in, whether they're on the road or not. What do we need to see from them to continue this kind of effort? Do the rookies like the young dudes like DeJounte and the rest, do they have the ability to carry a team and beat teams they're supposed to yet? Because I guess they're going to have to prove it, but how are they going to get there minus their point guard and Derek White?
Well, and again, I think first off, back-to-backs are dumb, but at least they're both 7 o'clock starts. It's not like you've got a 7 o'clock Saturday game and a 2 o'clock Sunday game. Although do not realize it's wild card football weekend. I'm just saying, but I do expect to see maybe a rest game for LaMarcus, maybe a rest game for Patty, maybe a rest game for Rudy Gay, who was phenomenal last night. And I know matchups might determine some of that. LaMarcus has already had some time off, but playing back-to-backs, you play Tuesday, you play Thursday, you travel, then you've got 2 games in Minnesota, and then Tuesday is the OKC game to finish up this road trip. But I do expect the Spurs to be shorthanded by their own accounts coming up this weekend. And then, the one thing that we don't have answers to yet is the COVID situation with this Spurs team. We do know that Drew Eubanks is in the protocols along with 2 other members of the traveling party. Do they get a wheels up plane by themselves to Minnesota? Are they on the team plane? Do they have to stay in the hotel in Los Angeles? And what other dominoes can you see, like we're seeing with Philadelphia and some other teams right now that are having to deal with COVID? I mean, you got to have 8 players to play a game. And right now the Spurs are only down to Eubanks, but you do wonder if you get one, are there going to be other dominoes that are going to fall over the next couple of days of testing?
That's a big concern. We know the 76ers right now are dealing with that. Seth Curry comes back positive. We have a feeling that other players are going to be quarantined. The NBA is going to be tested just like the NFL was. Well, I think we're imminent to some postponed or canceled games. On that note, though, the G League announced today that to avoid that kind of problem, or at least to do their very best, they're going to play their season down in Disney like the NBA did, a condensed version. My question to you, as the season has begun and the Austin Spurs put together the G League team, should Lucas Samanis just go ahead and put on that G League jersey and not have to travel and sit and watch this? Because it is pointless. This guy needs time on the court, and watching him show up for 30 seconds here and there and look a little bit lost, it's almost disheartening.
It's disappointing you would even ask that question. Yes. It's a no-brainer. The dude's going to the bubble. He has no business being on the NBA roster right now. None. He's a space taker.
With that in mind, would you go actively pursue another veteran player to take that place?
Yes. I mean, how quickly you pull that trigger, I don't know. But if you've got an open roster spot, you're going to go fill it. If for any other reason, what we're just talking about with COVID, you have to have 8 active, healthy, available players. And so if you've got an open roster spot and you don't fill it, you're not doing your job.
Jill, will you be concerned, upset, bothered by the fact that the Spurs might go up to Minneapolis and lose one or both games to a team that's lesser than them, or is that just the growing pains with a young team?
I want to stop with the growing pains for the young team, because I would love for them to turn a corner. But we've said it a million times. This is going to be a roller coaster season. As much as these 2 past games at the Staples Center were tests for the Spurs. These 3 games are going to be the biggest test because these are beatable teams, to your point. They need to beat these teams, find a way, finish, have a better third quarter. And heck, wouldn't it be great if that same offensive consistency the last 2 games comes out for the next 3? That would be fantastic.
One last thing, the picture is going to be perfect. It's going to show up for a while. Pop on the sidelines jumping. Look at the hair. What are your thoughts on Pop's long gray locks?
Oh my goodness. I love this picture. My first thought was Mad Hot Coach Pop.
Would we appreciate Pop with a ponytail? Would he go full Don Nelson on this?
Absolutely.
Consider Pop in a ponytail. We'll talk about it Monday. It's been the Blitz.
Before the big game, February 7th, we'll have pro football playoffs.
It's that playoff atmosphere right here, boy. It's crazy.
Join ESPN San Antonio's Pro Football Playoff Challenge at ESPNSA.com and pick each week's winners.
I want winners.
Just win, David.
Can you pick them perfect and score all bragging rights? Sign up today at ESPNSA.com. ESPN San Antonio's Pro Football Playoff Challenge. Another way it pays to listen to ESPN San Antonio all day, every day.
Carmen's startup found an angel investor, but now they're asking for a miracle from her development team.
Hello, this is Carmen. That's exciting news. I guess we could launch early.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
We have finally turned the calendar into a new year, but if you still are rolling on those old brakes, you need to get them fixed. Jason Minnick's here for New Brakes, nubrakes.com. New Brakes is a mobile brake shop. That means they will come to you to fix your brakes. New Brakes is made getting your brakes repaired easy, convenient, and affordable because they will come to you. They'll come to your home, they'll come to your office, and fix your brakes while you continue to live your life. Most repairs are done in less than an hour. New Brakes only uses premium brake parts, and they back all repairs with a 24-month, 24,000-mile warranty. Go read all the 5-star reviews at nubrakes.com. If you know your brakes are bad or you think they're going bad, do us all a favor and get